Chapter 2504. As a bodyguard. Let's go, it's about time. The hidden house of you should be on the move. We should get ready to go. The vice leader stood up. The vice leader was right. When Yu Pangao returned to the hotel room and told the short man everything that had happened, the short man was furious. The pure topaz was something that old man Yu had personally ordered him to get. Now that it was stolen, he wouldn't let it go. Especially when Yu Pangao exaggerated about how arrogant Lin Yi was, and how he didn't care about the hidden house of Yu. This made the short man even angrier, and he brought Yu Pangao out. Kid, you're quite good at choosing your routes. Yu Pangao caught up to Lin Yi and looked at Lin Yi's back from afar. He laughed coldly. Don't think that we won't be able to find you just because you went up the mountain. I've said it before. Let's see how long you can keep the pure topaz in your hands. Lin Yi's path was indeed out of Yu Pangao's and the short man's expectations, but with the help of some people in the Cultivator Trade Association, they were able to find him without a hitch. In fact, the vice leader was using them as pawns to test the waters. Lin Yi could easily kill an Earth-class late-phase peak master, so his true strength was at least at the early phase of Sky class. If that was the case, then they would let an early phase Sky class master test it out, and see how deep Lin Yi's strength was. Lin Yi laughed coldly and turned his head. He looked at Yu Pangao and the short man with a mocking smile, and said calmly, "Do you know why I chose this path? Isn't it simple? Because you were afraid that we would come to steal the pure topaz and wanted to escape, so you purposely chose this remote place. But you won't be able to hide." Yu Pangao said proudly. "Wrong." Lin Yi said calmly. "Wrong? Don't quibble. There's no one here. You don't need to keep your pitiful pride. Your companion already ran for her life." "Ha ha, stop pretending." Yu Pangao said mockingly, "I chose this place because there aren't many people here. It doesn't matter if my identity is exposed." Lin Yi waved his hand and said to Yu Pangao, "The hidden house of Yu is really an idiot. You are the same. Yu Pangao is the same. You have a sharp tongue, and you're still so stubborn even at death." Pangao snorted. "Exposed? What identity do you have to be exposed?" "I say, short robber, your injuries healed quite quickly, didn't they? Looks like I didn't put too much force into that slap back then. You're still alive and kicking, looking for trouble." Lin Yi ignored Pangao. Instead, he looked at the short expert not far away and said coldly, "Ah." The short expert was taken aback, and a look of horror flashed in his eyes. You are... So, the people from the Hidden Right family are all idiots. You brought your grandson to chase after me to your death?" Lin Yi said as he looked at the short expert playfully. "Brat, who are you calling courting deaths?" Right Pangao didn't recognize Lin Yi, so he didn't understand the situation. When he heard Lin Yi say that he was courting death, he instantly exploded. "Pa." However, Yu Pangao had not finished speaking. The short expert ruthlessly slapped him across the face. "Little bastard. Shut up." "Ah, grandfather, Right Pangao didn't know what was going on. He didn't know why his grandfather suddenly gave him a slap. Feeling wronged, he asked, "What's wrong with me?" "Mr. Lin, I was just joking." The short expert was sweating profusely. He was a heaven rank expert, so he was very domineering. However, he could also distinguish between the strong and the weak. The combination of him and Right Pangao was far worse than the combination of him and the tall robber. Lin Yi could easily kill the previous combination. Wouldn't it be as easy as flipping his hand to kill him and his grandson? So, after understanding the situation, the short expert decisively gave in. "Joke? You brought your grandson all the way here just to joke?" Lin Yi stared at the short expert angrily. "Are you crazy?" I'm not crazy. Actually, my real purpose was to prevent Mr. Lin from carrying such a precious thing like the pure topaz? What if you meet a robber on the way? So, my grandson and I volunteered to be his bodyguards. The short expert said, "That's right." The short expert said, "Oh, that's it. Oh, you came to be a bodyguard. All right, you guys hide first. Someone's coming." Lenny waved his hand. "Someone's coming? Then we'll leave first." The short expert hurriedly said, "Aren't you guys going to be my bodyguards? Why are you leaving? Could it be that you're not here to be bodyguards?" Lenny looked at the short expert and said coldly, Of course, we're here to be bodyguards." The short expert was shocked and quickly said, he was afraid that Lenny would kill him. He quickly bit on the point of being a bodyguard. "Since you're here to be bodyguards, then that's good. You guys hide first. Wait for my summons to protect me." Lin E instructed them. Yes. The short expert nodded helplessly. He pulled right Pan Gao and hid behind a huge rock not far away. However, he didn't dare to run away. He was afraid that this was a trap set by Lin E. If they ran away, Linny would quickly kill them. "Grandfather, why did you call him Mr. Lin? Who is he?" After hiding behind the huge rock, Right Pan Gao asked suspiciously, "Who is he? How did your grandfather get injured? How did your grandfather Gao die? That's who he is." The short expert glared at his grandson and said fiercely, "Today, I almost died because of you. This brat is very cruel and ruthless. He's simply a violent maniac. Last time when your grandfather Gao and I were robbers, he didn't say a word and injured us. Today, he might have been in a good mood after taking a picture of pure topaz. That's why he let us go." "Ah, it's him." Right Pan Gao's face turned ashen. He broke out in a cold sweat. So, it was this evil star. He was fearlessly acting tough in front of him and courting death. His life was really hanging by a thread. "All right, don't talk anymore. It seems like someone is really coming." The short expert was slightly surprised. He was a heaven stage expert, but Lin E was one step ahead of him. What kind of expert was Lin E? In fact, he was thinking too much. Previously, he was frightened by Lin E and didn't carefully investigate the surrounding situation. Lin E had already expected that other than the Hidden You family members, the Heaven Stage Vice President would also come. Naturally, he was more careful than the short expert. The Heaven Stage Vice President brought the skinny stick to Lin Yi's side. Only then did he realize that Lin Yi was just standing there, calm and unruffled, in the midst of the chaos. Chapter 2511. The School Bell's Bodyguard Free Reading _ Chapter 2511. Come and be a bodyguard update complete. Chapter 2505. This situation made him slightly startled. What was Linny doing? Why didn't the hidden house of you come looking for him? That's not right. I specifically ordered the disciples of the Law Enforcement Hall to inadvertently give them a hint when they were looking for Lin E. That way, they would be able to find Lin E smoothly. But where was this person? "Hello, Vice President. Is this skinny man your subordinate?" Lin E was a little surprised after seeing the skinny man. He did expect the Vice President to come back to avenge the two gatekeepers, but he didn't expect it to be because of this skinny man. No wonder. Lin E finally understood after seeing the skinny man. So the two gatekeepers were actually standing up for this skinny man. It was just that they weren't strong enough. Lin E found it strange at first. The two gatekeepers must have taken the wrong medicine. He was an Earth-class peak mid-stage master. Of all people, the gatekeepers could have looked for trouble, but they just had to look for him. They must have eaten their fill. Since you've seen me here, there's no need for me to hide anymore. That's right, he's my disciple. You stole his blue crystal and crippled two of my disciples. How are you going to settle this debt? The vice leader looked at Lin E coldly, as if he was looking at a dead man. How? Do I still need to settle this? Lin E smiled faintly. You scrawny disciple bullied people first, and I was just helping them out. The two disciples after you, on the other hand, were crippled because they weren't strong enough. Who can you blame? Oh, what you said is correct. Then can I interpret it as saying that if I kill you now, who can you blame for your lack of strength? The vice leader was clearly twisting words and forcing logic, but his words sounded extremely natural. Of course, you can understand it that way. Linny said lightly, but do you think I'm waiting here to die? Then you... The vice president was slightly shocked. To be honest, he was also quite surprised. He was inexplicably standing here without hiding. What was the reason? Moreover, where were the people of the hidden right family? Bodyguards come out and work. Someone's bullying the person you're protecting. He turned his head to look at the short expert and the boulder to his right. Cough, cough. The short expert had no choice but to bring his right arm out. His expression was extremely ugly, but there was nothing he could do. He was in a dilemma. He had no choice but to come out, but he didn't want to face the vice leader of the heaven rank after coming out. Third brother of the right, why are you here? The vice president of Heaven Stage looked at the two Hidden You family members who came out from behind the boulder in shock. He was very surprised. How did these two people become Lin Yi's bodyguards? That's right, we're this gentleman's bodyguards. The short expert said helplessly. We're here to protect this gentleman's safety. Mr. Vice President, what can I do for you? The short expert's words were very clear. He was currently being forced into a corner. If the short expert wanted to cause trouble for Lin Yi, then he would have no choice. I'm also in a difficult position here. The vice president of Heaven Stage frowned. He really couldn't figure out the truth of the matter. He could only say, Third brother of the right, what do you mean? Did you get your pure topaz? Pure topaz? We don't want it. We're here to protect this gentleman's pure topaz from being stolen by others. The short expert said, The vice president of Heaven Stage found that things seemed to be wrong. Although he was an expert at the peak of the early stage of Heaven Stage, and third brother of the right was an expert at the early stage of Heaven Stage. There was only a slight difference in strength between the two. It was unrealistic to say that the vice president of Heaven Stage could completely suppress third brother of the right. He didn't have that ability, let alone easily kill him. If the two really fought, it would be easy to judge who would win and who would lose. The final winner would definitely be the vice president of Heaven Stage, but he would also have to put in a lot of effort. He might even get injured, which was not what he wanted to see. I'm sorry, the short expert said, helplessly. Grandpa, why don't we join forces with the vice president? Can't we beat that kid? Third brother of the right was somewhat unwilling. He suddenly said, First, he wanted to remind his grandpa that there were two Heaven Stage experts here, so there was no need to be afraid of Lin Yi. Second, he wanted to remind the vice president of Heaven Stage that he was forced to do this. He also wanted the vice president of Heaven Stage to persuade his grandpa. Sure enough, the vice guild master's eyes lit up. He finally understood why House Yu changed sides at the last minute. It turned out that they couldn't beat Lin Yi. But a Sky-class early-stage master couldn't even be a match for an Earth-class mid-stage peak master? Was this for real? Wasn't this world too crazy? The short expert's expression was slightly sluggish. It wasn't that he didn't think of joining forces with the vice president of Heaven Stage, but the risk was too big. What if they still couldn't beat Lin Yi? He wasn't High Tripod, right? No matter what, High Tripod, Wright had never experienced the events of that day. However, the short expert had truly suffered a palm strike, and he knew very well how powerful that palm strike was. Not to mention much. Just 2 strikes from it would have killed him without a doubt. Therefore, if Lin Yi used the same trick again and slapped him and the vice president of Heaven Stage, then he and the vice president of Heaven Stage would both be crippled. He didn't think that the vice president of Heaven Stage, who was just a bit stronger than him, would be able to survive. That wasn't realistic. Even if the vice president of Heaven's Stage wasn't injured as badly as he was, he definitely wouldn't be able to fight. At that time, wouldn't it be as easy for Lin E to kill third brother of the right clan and Skinny Stick? After killing these two, he would give them another slap each, and all four of them would die here. Thinking of this situation, the short expert couldn't help but feel his heart palpitate. He quickly dispelled this idea and suddenly turned around. He swung his arm and slapped third brother of the right clan's face again. "You prodigal brat, what nonsense are you talking about? That hero is so powerful. How can we two mere Heaven Stage experts work together to defeat him? What do you know, you little bastard? The last time I was with your grandpa Gao, he was an Earth-class late-phase peak, and I was an Earth-class early phase. He was killed in one slap, and I was crippled. I had to eat so many pills to recover. Have you forgotten?" The short expert's words were actually meant for the vice president of Heaven Stage to hear. That is, "I was crippled by Lin E in one slap, and he only needed one slap to kill you. Although I know that I was pushed out by him to start a feud with you, I had no choice but to bite the bullet. So don't blame me. This wasn't my intention." Chapter 2506. If Linny wanted to kill you, he would have already done it himself. Why would he need me? I'm being used as a tool. When we become enemies, the Hidden Right family and the Cultivator Trading Association will become enemies. He will be happy, but the shorty was thinking too much. Lin E didn't think that way at all. It was true that Lin E could cripple him with one palm, but that was under the condition of a surprise attack. If the short master had chi protection, then he would not be able to kill him. Moreover, Lin E could only send out 2 palms before using up all his physical chi. It was impossible to continuously activate the 7th style of the Raging Fire 8 trigrams palm. Therefore, Lin E did not have the confidence to deal with the vice president of Heaven Division. He could only deal with it and escape. It was just that Lin E did not want the vice president of Heaven Division to know that he was afraid. After all, he could not hide forever. He had to intimidate the vice president of Heaven Division and make him afraid. Lin E still had to participate in the market and trade fairs in the future. He could not afford to have too much hatred with the Cultivator Trading Association. If the vice president of Heaven Division was afraid and let it go, that would be the best result. The words of the short master were like thunder in the ears of the vice president of Heaven Division. It was so shocking that he could not believe it was true. Could it be that Lin E, a peak Earth class master, really had the ability to beat the third brother of the right and himself? However, the vice president of Heaven Division knew that the third brother of the right would not lie. After all, the third brother of the right was a dignified Heaven Division master. How could he tell such a lie? That was a joke with his own reputation. A dignified Heaven Division master was afraid of a peak Earth class master? If this was spread out, it would be a big joke. If it was not true, and he was forced to do so, the third brother of the right would never say it. With that in mind, the vice president couldn't help but reevaluate Lin E. Thinking back to how easily Lin E had crippled 2 of his disciples, and how he was able to fight someone of a higher level than him, the vice president finally realized that his thinking was too simple. This Earth-class mid-phase peak in front of him was a different kind of Earth-class mid-phase peak. However, he still had some doubts in his heart. If Lin E was really so powerful, it would be better for him and third brother of the right to kill him directly. Why did he adopt this kind of tactic? Make the Hidden Yu family his enemy? Since the whole story had already been revealed, how could they still be enemies? After taking a deep breath and doing his best to calm himself down, the vice leader raised his head and looked at Lin E. "How should I address you? I have to admit that I've underestimated your strength." "My surname is Ling," Lin E said lightly. "Mr. Ling, do you really have the strength to annihilate us?" The Vice Guild leader hesitated for a moment. He asked straightforwardly. He, why don't I use you as an experiment? Stand here and let me hit you. You can personally experience it and see if I have the ability to destroy you fellows. Lin Yi said with a chuckle. Ha ha, Mr. Ling must be joking. How could the vice president of Heaven Rank agree to this suggestion? If he hadn't heard third brother of the right's words, and if Lin Yi hadn't crippled 2 of his disciples before, he might have really agreed to this proposal. However, he didn't dare to try it now, even if he was beaten to death. Even if he didn't believe it, third brother of the right was not a fool. Lin Yi didn't have that kind of strength. Could he surrender? Even when his grandson, Yu Pangao, proposed to join forces with him to deal with Lin Yi, he was flatly rejected by third brother of the right. He even slapped third brother of the right's grandson. This seemed unbelievable, but after thinking about it carefully, there was a truth in it. Lin Yi was really not simple. I'm not joking, Lin Yi said lightly. Well, Mr. Ling, since we've already made the grievances between us clear, then I'll be straightforward with you. I want to ask you, why don't you do it yourself, but let third brother of the right do it? Do you really want the hidden right family to become enemies with us? The vice president of Heaven Rank asked the doubt in his heart. He always felt that something was wrong. Of course not. Lin Yi shook his head. I don't want to do it myself because I can't control my strength well. Once I make a move, you'll be crippled even if you don't die. I let third brother of the right do it because I want to resolve the conflict between us smoothly. Resolve it smoothly? Don't you want to do it? The vice president of Heaven Rank was stunned and asked, You're the vice president of the Cultivator Trading Association. You're different from the 2 small characters who guarded the door before. If I kill you, regardless of whether I have a reason or not, the Cultivator Trading Association will be slapped in the face. Won't your president avenge you? Lin Yi asked in reply, although I'm powerful and can fight enemies of a higher level, if the Cultivator Trading Association gets a few higher level Heaven Rank masters, then I'm definitely no match for them. That's true. The vice president of Heaven Rank nodded and agreed with Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi was right. He was the vice president. His identity and status were completely different from the previous 2 gatekeeping disciples. If the gatekeeping disciples died, then so be it. Other than him, the master, no one would avenge them. However, if he, the vice president, died, then it would be unusual. Even the other vice president who had conflicts with him in the past would come forward to avenge him. In the past, those were just personal grievances. Now, they had to work together to protect the reputation of the Cultivator Trading Association. Moreover, the most important thing is that I still have to deal with you in the future. If there's a feud, it won't be good for me, said Lin Yi. When the vice president of Heaven Rank thought of Lin Yi's auction of the elixir, his heart moved slightly. He believed Lin Yi's words. However, after all, he did not personally experience Lin Yi's power like third brother of the right. So he still asked, how can you prove that you have the ability to kill us? As long as you have the ability to prove that your strength is equivalent to mine, I won't pursue the previous matter. I will resolve the grievances with you and become friends. You should understand that in the world of cultivators, the strong are respected. If you have the strength, then I will talk to you as an equal. Then how do you want me to prove it? Lin Yi kicked the question back to the vice president of Heaven Rank. The vice president of Heaven Rank frowned. He was also thinking about how Lin Yi would prove this point. Fighting against an enemy of a higher level was not something that could be seen just by using the mantra. No matter how Lin Yi displayed his strength, he would still be at the peak of mid-earth class. While the vice president of Heaven Rank was thinking, the skinny man beside him was anxious. From what his master said, it seemed like he wanted to take the initiative to ask for peace. That wouldn't do. Wouldn't his brothers have died in vain? Chapter 2507. Thus, The skinny man hurriedly shouted, "Master, don't listen to this brat's bullshit. No matter how powerful he is, he can't beat a heaven stage master. How could there be a precedent of an earth stage master beating a heaven stage master? It's unheard of. I think he must have promised the Hidden You family some benefits so that the Hidden You family would help him lie." These words made the vice president of Heaven Stage even more suspicious. However, before he could speak, the skinny man's words stopped abruptly and was replaced by a scream. Frenzy 8 Trigram's palm 7th form. Lin E said to Lin E as he struck the skinny man with his palm. This person would always be a scourge if he didn't get rid of him. Even if the vice president of Heaven Stage resolved today's matter, this guy would still bewitch the vice president of Heaven Stage or other people to deal with Lin E in the future. Therefore, this person must not be left alive. Boom! A large hole appeared in the skinny man's chest. Lin Yi's palm had pierced through his chest. His body fell heavily on the ground and died instantly. The vice president of Heaven Stage was shocked. He didn't expect Lin E to suddenly attack. However, just as he said the word "you," he was shocked by the aura of Lin Yi's palm. His eyes widened, and he couldn't speak. "Didn't you want me to prove it? I've already proven it," Lin E said, lightly, as if killing the skinny man was just to prove his strength. The 13th style of the Heaven Rank Martial Technique. The vice president of the Heaven Rank Martial Technique sucked in a breath of cold air after a long while. He exclaimed, "Not bad. You do have the strength to fight with me. Furthermore, if this palm hit me, I'm afraid that I would suffer quite a bit of injury. I believe that you are indeed qualified to speak with me on equal terms." Pan Gao was also dumbfounded. He also felt the power of Lin Yi's martial technique. He was so scared that his face turned ashen. He had tried to sow discord just now, but now he was regretting it. If he knew that Lin E was so powerful, why was he so talkative? But Lin E wasn't angry at him. On the contrary, he felt that this guy's big mouth had its benefits. If it weren't for him, things wouldn't have ended so easily. Lin E also wanted to reveal what he had said to the vice leader of the Heaven Rank, but there was no need for Lin E to waste his breath. On the other hand, the short, expert, third brother of the right was smiling bitterly as he looked at the vice president of Heaven Rank. He spread his hands and said, "Vice President, now you know my difficulties, right? He can indeed easily cripple me. The power of that palm is equivalent to a peak early stage Heaven Rank powerhouse. I have no choice but to do this. I understand." The vice president of Heaven Rank nodded and said, "Mr. Ling, I apologize for offending you in the past. It's my fault for not disciplining him properly, but I will stand up for him. Don't take it to heart. After all, the cultivation world is cruel. I understand. If I didn't have the strength, I wouldn't have been able to do so. I'm afraid I'm a corpse now. I won't allow third old you to compromise here." Linny smiled and said faintly, "It's good that you understand." The vice president also smiled. "It's easy to talk to smart people. I recognize you as a customer. This is my contact information. If there's anything in the future, you can contact me directly." As he said that, the vice president took out a business card made of pure gold. He threw it at Lin E. This kind of business card could not be owned by people of the same level of strength. The vice president giving it to Lin E was also an acknowledgement of Lin E. Of course, this action of throwing the business card was also a test and punishment for Lin E. The vice president used all his strength. Even if a heaven rank powerhouse took his business card head-on, it would be impossible for him to escape unscathed. It was inevitable that his hand would be injured. He would not be able to move for at least a month. He wanted to see if Lin E could take it head-on. If Lin E did not dare to take it head-on, it meant that Lin Yi's strength was still not enough. Even if he did not make trouble at the moment, he would value Lin E a little less. If Lin Yi took it head-on, he would naturally resolve today's grudge. However, Lin Yi's hand would definitely be crippled for a month. It could be considered a punishment for Lin Yi, who asked him to kill his 3 disciples. Lin Yi reached out and took the business card thrown by the vice president of Heaven Rank. However, the strength of the business card hit Lin Yi's palm, breaking all the bones in Lin Yi's palm and damaging his tendons to a certain extent. Lin Yi had long expected the situation, but in order not to let the vice president of Heaven Rank see him clearly, he still chose to take it head-on instead of dodging. However, the vice president of Heaven Rank was wrong about Lin Yi. After Lin Yi caught the business card, he quickly circulated the 2nd level of the art of dragon mastery to quickly heal himself. Although the injury on his palm was serious, the area was very small. Compared to the injury Lin Yi suffered in the fight, it was insignificant. Therefore, Lin Yi's palm quickly recovered to its original state. Lin Yi raised his hand and played with the business card in his hand. His palm and fingers were extremely flexible, showing no signs of injury at all. Oh, this business card is very valuable. It is made of pure gold. It seems that the vice president is really giving me face. I will definitely keep this business card well. Lin Yi smiled and stuffed the business card into his pocket. As for his hand, it seemed that he was trying to adjust the position of the business card in his pocket. This situation made the vice president of Heaven Rank dumbfounded. He was fine? Lin Yi's hand was not injured at all? How was this possible? Even a peak early Heaven class expert with the same strength as him couldn't protect their body with Qi, right? Even if a peak early Heaven class expert used Qi to protect their body, they would more or less be affected. Even if the bones in the palm weren't completely broken, they would still be injured and unable to move freely, right? But Lin Yi seemed to be completely fine. Mr. Ling is indeed not an ordinary peak mid-earth class expert. The vice president of Heaven Rank sighed and said, I wonder which sect Mr. Ling is from? The strength of your sect's practitioners can't be measured by ordinary levels. Although Mr. Ling is currently peak mid-earth class, in reality, whether it is the power of your martial arts or the defensive ability of your Qi protection, they all exceed the strength of a peak early Heaven class expert. This humble one admires you greatly. The vice president of Heaven Rank asked himself that even his defensive ability was not as strong as Lin Yi's, and Lin Yi's martial arts power was stronger than his. Therefore, he directly addressed himself as this humble one and put Lin Yi in the position of a senior. Although Lin Yi's level was low, his strength was there. He didn't think that there was anything wrong with this. Yes, Senior Ling's strength is quite amazing. The 3rd elder of the right also echoed. Although he didn't know why Lin Yi chose the Ling surname, he wouldn't expose him like a fool at this time. He didn't want to die yet. Chapter 2508. Since everything is clear and the grievances are resolved, I will leave. Senior Ling, take care. The vice president of Heaven Division confirmed that Lin Yi was more powerful than him, so his tone became respectful. It couldn't be helped. The cultivation world was a very realistic place. Okay, vice president, take care. I won't send you off. Lin Yi nodded. See you. The vice president of Heaven Division picked up the skinny body and left quickly. He disappeared from everyone's sight in an instant. Lin Yi also turned his head and looked at 3rd Elder of the Right and Pan Gao of the Right. Will you two continue to be my bodyguards? Asked Lin Yi. This Senior Lin has divine protection. Naturally, you don't need small characters like us to protect you, 3rd Elder of the Right said awkwardly. He had changed the way he addressed Lin Yi from Mr. Lin to Senior Lin. Especially after seeing the power of Lin Yi's vital energy protection, he knew that he couldn't do anything to Lin Yi. Oh, what are you holding in your hand? Lin Yi pointed to the big suitcase in Pan Gao's hand and asked, This is money. It's the money from selling the elixir at the auction. Third elder of the right didn't dare to hide and told the truth. Oh, since you two don't protect me, shouldn't you compensate me for my loss? Give me the money. Although it's not much, I'm too lazy to beat you up, said Lin E. This is to be handed over to the Hidden You family, third elder of the right said with a bitter face. If I give it to you, it'll be hard to explain when I go back. Oh, then you don't have to hand over the pure topaz to the Yu family? If I take away the pure topaz, how are you going to explain when you go back? Asked Lin E. I said that Senior Lin took it away. We can't do anything, said third elder of the right. That's it. Just say that I took the money away, said Lin E. Ah, is that so? The third elder of the right was stunned. However, he thought that it was a good reason. Since the pure topaz had been taken away, the money from selling the elixirs would not be a problem. Why? Can I? Linny looked at the third, right, coldly. Yes, of course. You Pan Gao, give all the money to Senior Lin. The third elder of the right was shocked. He quickly agreed. All right. Yu Pan Gao did not dare to disobey the third brother of the right. He carefully handed the box to Lin E and said in a trembling voice, Senior Lin, please accept it. Oh, okay. Then you can go. Lin E took the suitcase and waved his hand impatiently. All right, then we'll be leaving first. Senior Lin, take care. The third elder of the right breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that he had escaped a disaster. He hurriedly pulled Yu Pan Gao's hand and ran down the mountain. Lin E looked at the back of the third elder of the right as he left. He secretly breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. It would be a lie to say that Lin E was not nervous. Although Lin E had the ability to cripple the third elder of the right, it had to be based on the unexpected situation. The current situation was that Lin E could not completely succeed in a sneak attack. The third elder of the right was good, and the vice president of the heaven stage was on guard. If they really fought, Lin E would definitely be exposed. However, a few words and killing a skinny man had achieved a deterrent effect. The third elder of the right and the vice president of the heaven stage did not dare to act rashly. Instead, it allowed Lin E to easily resolve the crisis in front of him. After standing in place for a while, he did not hear any more movements. Lin E moved, but Lin E did not walk in the direction of the mountain. Instead, he continued to walk up the mountain. Lin E was going to make a detour before going down the mountain. It was to prevent anyone from waiting for him at the foot of the mountain. However, after walking for a while, Lin E was stunned by the scene in front of him. He saw that all kinds of rare herbs were planted all over the mountains and plains. Although it could not be said to be at the level of heaven and earth treasure, they were all good materials for alchemy. At least the materials for refining a lot of second-grade elixir could be found here. This discovery surprised and delighted Lin E. If he brought some back for Han Jingjing to refine elixir, wouldn't it be a good solution to the problem of ingredients for alchemy? However, very quickly Lin E calmed down again. These herbs were good stuff. It was impossible for them to grow naturally on this mountain. Moreover, this was the place where the Cultivator Trading Association held the market. Then, the herbs that were planted on this mountain most likely belonged to the Cultivator Trading Association. Sure enough, Lin E did not stay here for more than a few minutes before two people ran towards him. They shouted as they ran, "Who are you?" Lin E took a look. It was actually two Earth-class late-stage peak cultivators. Moreover, the clothes they were wearing were exactly the same as the disciples of the Cultivator Trading Association's Law Enforcement Hall. From this characteristic, it could confirm Lin Yi's previous guess. This was really the Cultivator Trading Association's territory. You guys are from the Cultivator Trading Association? To confirm his guess, Lin E still asked, "That's right, but don't try to get close to us. This is the Cultivator Trading Association's restricted area. Only the vice chairman and elders of the association can enter." One of the disciples looked at Lin Yi cautiously. Who are you? Trespassing is a crime punishable by death. If you don't explain yourself, we can only bring you down the mountain to see the vice chairman. Oh, I'm good friends with your vice chairman. Lin Yi smiled. As for trespassing, it's not really trespassing. I can only say that it was a mistake. Mistake. This place is so remote, and the road is hard to walk. It's a completely different direction from the market. Who are you trying to fool by saying that? The disciple clearly did not believe him. As for knowing the vice chairman, we've heard that a lot. You don't believe me? I still have his business card. Lin Yi did not want to clash with these two disciples. After all, the two guards were deliberately making things difficult for him, and these two were just abiding by their duties. Lin Yi himself had entered their herb garden by mistake. Business card? The disciple saw Lin Yi's hand reach into his pocket, but did not stop him. They were Earth-class late-phase peak, so naturally they were not afraid of Lin Yi taking out a weapon. If Lin Yi was stronger than them, then he could kill them without a weapon. If he was weaker, then weapons would be useless. Lin Yi took out the name card made of pure gold and showed it in front of the two disciples of the law enforcement hall. It really is the vice chairman's business card, and it's a top-grade pure gold business card. These two law enforcement hall disciples were obviously knowledgeable people. They also knew that if it wasn't an important guest, the vice president wouldn't give out this kind of business card. Generally, it was good enough to give out a platinum-plated business card. Most of them were ordinary steel business cards. Chapter 2509. Happy cooperation. Wait a minute. I'll contact the vice president. Another law enforcement hall disciple said, as he took out the walkie-talkie and pressed a few numbers on it. When it was connected, he said, "Hello, Vice President. I'm Lang Jinxiang, the team leader of the law enforcement hall in the herb garden. Here is a guest who accidentally trespassed. He has your gold business card in his hand. Do you want to let him go or escort him to your place?" What? Gold business card? The vice president's heart suddenly tightened after hearing this. He immediately thought of Lin Yi on the mountain and quickly said, Don't annoy him. Let him go on his own. Remember, you must be respectful." Yes. The team leader of the law enforcement hall quickly responded, "Give me the walkie-talkie. I want to talk to the vice president," Lin Yi suddenly said to the team leader. The team leader hesitated for a moment. "Give it to him," the vice president ordered directly. "Okay." The team leader quickly gave the walkie-talkie to Lin Yi. "Mr. Ling, is that you? Haha, how did you break into our herb garden?" The vice president's tone was very good, without the slightest hint of blame. "But you also know that those two disciples were just following orders. Don't lower yourself to their level. Our herb garden is indeed a restricted area." "Well, I know. Vice President, you don't have to be nervous. I'm not a person who kills people casually," Lin Yi said with a wry smile. Lin Yi's words made the two disciples of the law enforcement hall jump in fright. No way? The vice president actually spoke to Lin Yi in such a respectful tone. Moreover, it seemed that Mr. Ling might kill them. Thinking of this, the two law enforcement hall disciples suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. "Haha, I'm just saying." "Why, Mr. Ling, what's the matter?" The vice president asked. "Vice President, may I ask if the herbs planted on the mountain are for sale?" Lin Yi asked. "Oh, of course, these herbs are for sale. However, they weren't sold through our markets channels. Instead, they were sold through a higher-level trade fair." The vice president of Heaven Stage said, "Why, Mr. Ling is interested." "Oh, that's right. Mr. Ling provided some pills before." "That's right. I was wondering if I could buy some materials?" Lin Yi asked. "This is not within my jurisdiction. I am only responsible for the safety of the herb garden. As for the sale of the medicine, the other vice president is in charge of it. The vice president of Heaven Stage said, "Well, Mr. Ling, I'll help you ask. Call me in about a month, and I'll give you the news. Anyway, it will take some time for this batch of medicinal materials to mature, so there's no hurry for the time being." "All right. Thank you very much." Lin Yi said, "I can guarantee that the pills I refine will be given priority to the vice president's market square. Hee, that's naturally the best." The vice president of Heaven Stage said with a smile, "Then I wish us a happy cooperation." In fact, he helped Lin Yi because Lin Yi could provide pills to the cultivator market. One had to know that pills were one of the biggest sources of profit for the cultivator market. The profits from the invitation were directly collected by the Cultivator Trading Association and were not considered as the performance of the vice president of Heaven Stage. The profits earned from the auction were the performance of the vice president of Heaven Stage. That was why he was willing to lower his status and be on good terms with Lin Yi. Otherwise, just because Lin Yi was stronger than him didn't mean that he would be so friendly. For a long time, the pills in the cultivator market were provided by the Hidden You family, but the Heaven Stage cultivator was not satisfied with this because the Hidden You family's quantity was too little. There were only about 20 to 30 pills each time. Most of them were common pills like Small Huan Pill, Meridian Unblocking Pill, Qi Replenishing Pill, Foundation Establishment Pill, Body Tempering Pill, and so on. There were very few pills for cultivation, like the Small Qi Gathering Pill. Lin Yi provided 5 small Qi Gathering pills at once, which surprised the vice president of Heaven Stage. "Happy cooperation. I hope the vice president of Heaven Stage can help," Lin Yi said quickly. "Well, I will try my best to facilitate it." The vice president of Heaven Stage nodded and said, "However, you have to give me a guarantee first. You have to give me a guarantee first. Every 3 years, can you provide me with the same amount of elixirs as this time?" "Every 3 years?" Lin Yi was slightly stunned. "Yes, the Hidden You family will provide this amount of pills every 3 years, said the vice president of Heaven Stage. Lin Yi was stunned. It turned out that the Hidden You family's pills weren't very productive. They only had this amount every 3 years. But with Lin Yi and Han Jingjing, as long as they had the materials, they could basically refine these pills in a few days. Of course, Lin Yi definitely couldn't say these words. If he said it, he would be a monster. It might be a disaster by then. The practitioner's market, it's only held once every 3 years. Lin Yi asked, confused. Of course not. When I said every 3 years, I meant second-grade elixir pills. But first-grade elixir pills, under normal circumstances, the Hidden You family will provide sufficient supply. So I don't recommend Mr. Ling to do business in this area anymore because the market is basically saturated. The vice president of Heaven Stage said truthfully, although you sold all the spirit gathering pills in your hands this time, it was also because the spirit gathering pills are more popular for cultivation pills. As for the other first-grade pills, they are not so popular and have high profits. So that's how it is. Lin Yi nodded. In fact, he didn't even think about letting Han Jingjing refine first-grade pills. Anyway, it would take a lot of effort. Of course, refining second-grade pills was more promising and valuable. I can guarantee it. Okay, since Mr. Ling's words are a guarantee, then I will do my best. The vice president of Heaven Stage agreed readily. Okay, I will go down the mountain first. I will leave everything here to the vice president. After Lin Yi finished speaking, he returned the walkie-talkie to the team leader of the law enforcement hall. The team leader of the law enforcement hall took the walkie-talkie with a shocked expression and said, "Senior Ling, please take care." Lin Yi nodded and walked down the mountain with a big suitcase. This time, the cultivator market could be said to have a fruitful harvest. Lin Yi got a lot of things he needed, and he also found a supply of materials for alchemy. This time, it was really not a wasted trip. After going down the mountain, Lin Yi didn't meet anyone along the way. The people of the Hidden You family had probably left long ago. Lin Yi also reached an agreement with the vice president of Heaven Stage. As long as the vice president of Heaven Stage was not stupid, the relationship between the two would deepen as the cooperation deepened. It was impossible for them to become enemies again, unless the vice president of Heaven Stage couldn't live with money and his own performance. Chapter 2516 _ School Bells Bodyguard Free Reading _ Chapter 2516 Happy Cooperation Completed. Chapter 2510 Let's meet again. There were quite a lot of people in the parking lot at the foot of the mountain. After participating in the auction, the cultivators didn't leave immediately, but left one after another. Some returned to their rooms to pack up their things, and some continued to set up their stalls until the market was completely closed tonight. Han Xiaopa and Yu Xiaoka were overjoyed when they saw Lin Yi coming over with a big suitcase. It seemed that Lin Yi was fine. Previously, they saw third brother of the right bringing Yu Pangao down the mountain in a hurry, but Lin Yi didn't go down the mountain. They were very nervous. They were afraid that something would happen to Lin Yi. After all, nothing happened to the Hidden You family, and they left in a hurry, but Lin Yi didn't go down the mountain. They couldn't help but think in a bad direction. However, even though they thought about it, they didn't dare to go up the mountain. What if Lin Yi's opponent wasn't the Hidden You family, but the vice president of Heaven Stage from the previous auction? If they went up the mountain to find Lin Yi, wouldn't it be equivalent to causing trouble for Lin Yi? Therefore, the only thing they could do was to wait, and they finally waited for Lin Yi. Boss. Han Xiaopa opened the car door and waved at Lin Yi in surprise. Xiaopa, are you anxious? Lin Yi smiled. I'm fine. It's just that we saw the Hidden You family coming down the mountain. Boss didn't come down, so we were a little worried. Han Xiaopa said truthfully, did you meet the vice president of Heaven Stage again? You guessed right. Lin Yi nodded. I did meet the vice president. The two people from the Yu family were just a piece of cake. They didn't dare to make a move. Not only did they not make a move, but they also gave me a suitcase of money. Ah. Han Xiaopa's eyes widened. He pointed at the suitcase in Lin Yi's hand in disbelief. This is money. The Hidden You family gave it to you? Yes, they did give it to me, said Lin Yi. All right, the boss is awesome. What about the vice president? Are you all right? Han Xiaopa had seen many of Lin Yi's amazing deeds, so his heart could still take it. That vice president is not bad. He gave me a pure gold name card. Tell me if we can continue working together in the future. As Lin Yi spoke, he took out a pure gold business card. Puffed. Han Xiaopa coughed twice. He looked at the business card in Lin Yi's hand and exclaimed, even my grandfather doesn't have this kind of business card. He only has a platinum-plated business card. Boss actually has a gold-plated business card. Looks like I was worried for nothing. There was no need to worry. Although Lin Yi said it casually, no one knew how dangerous it was at that time. If it weren't for Lin Yi's smart move to push the third elder of the right out, things would not have gone so smoothly. However, there was no need to tell Han Xiaopa about this. After all, intelligence was not strength. Telling Han Xiaopa would only make him worry. Then, boss, I won't bother you anymore. I'll get in the car first. Han Xiaopa saw Yu Xiaoka standing at the side and looking at Lin Yi with a silly smile. He shook his head and quickly turned around to get in the car. From Han Xiaopa's point of view, Lin Yi's luck with women was too good. Wherever he went, beauties would come to him. However, Han Xiaopa was not envious. With his status, it was natural to choose one in a million to find a girlfriend. However, with his current status, he could not be as casual as Lin Yi. His marriage would probably be arranged by his family. When the time came, he would definitely marry a girl from Lin Yi's family or sect. Xiaoka, this is for you. Lin Yi handed the box in his hand to Lin Yi, and Thank you. Yu Xiaoke looked at Lin Yi affectionately. It was easy to meet, but it was hard to part. Yu Xiaoke did not expect to meet Lin Yi in the market. However, since they met, it was inevitable that she would feel empty and sad when they parted. How did you get here? Lin Yi asked. Xiao Ken and the driver from the orphanage drove me here. Yu Xiaoke pointed at a van not far away. It seemed to be the grocery van from the orphanage. Then let's part here, Lin Yi said. Then, will we have the chance to meet again in the future? Yu Xiaoke actually knew. The two of them were going to part here, but she was still a little reluctant. Haha, haven't you heard of the saying? If fate wills it, we will meet again. Originally, after we parted in the ancient tomb, we should be far apart from each other, but we accidentally met many times. We will definitely meet again in the future. Lin Yi smiled. And Xiaoke nodded her head forcefully. She said that she wouldn't be able to see him again, but now she was looking forward to meeting him again. She hoped that she and the male thief were fated to meet again, and they would be able to see each other more often. All right, go back. This money is enough for you for a while. We can slow down the expansion of the orphanage, Lin Yi said. Money, it's really not enough when it's time to use it. The orphanage is expanding, but there are a lot of hospitals all over the country that got the news. They're sending some abandoned babies with congenital diseases to my place. The cost of treating these abandoned babies is an astronomical figure. Yu Xiaoke sighed. I can't bear to reject these children, Lin Yi sighed softly. This situation was unavoidable. The bigger Yu Xiaoke's orphanage was, the more responsibility she had. She had to take in more abandoned babies, especially those with congenital diseases. Normal orphanages really couldn't afford the high cost of treating them. I'll think of a way for you. Lin Yi said to Yu Xiaoke, don't force yourself too much. Don't do dangerous things like this in the future. If you get caught stealing an invitation, how are you going to deal with it? Plus, even if you come here, you don't have much of a chance. These people are all masters. It's too hard to steal from them. Lin Yi could tell that the people who had the invitation were either from hidden houses or sects, or they were solo practitioners who had reached Earth class. Normal houses and solo practitioners didn't even know about the existence of this market. Yu Xiaoke stealing from them was like taking chestnuts from a fire. And I understand. Yu Xiaoke was happy that the man cared about her. Actually, it was a coincidence that she got the invitation. A practitioner accidentally left his coat on the seat when he was eating in a restaurant. She picked it up along the way, so it wasn't too dangerous. But Lin Yi was right. Xiaoke only realized how vigilant the people here were after coming here. It was extremely difficult to steal something from here. Their money was all in suitcases, and even if Yu Xiaoke was a master thief, she wouldn't be able to steal the suitcases. That wouldn't be stealing, it would be robbery. Chapter 25, 17_school bells bodyguard, free reading _ chapter 25, 17 fated to meet again has been updated. Chapter 25:11. It looked like they got a lot of money this time, but in reality, it was all Lin Yi's doing. Xiaoke had nothing to do with it. All right, I'm going now. You can go back too. Lin Yi patted Xiaoke's hair with a smile. And then Xiaoke nodded dumbly, her eyes soft as water. She gathered her courage and kissed him on the cheek once more. Even with the mask on, she could feel the deep affection from that kiss. After kissing Lin Yi, Xiaoke turned around and ran to her car, waving at Lin Yi as she got in the car. What surprised Lin Yi was that she was from the Fian sect after all, dragging 2 suitcases behind her. She was still running as if she was flying. Xiaoke sis, male thief bro is here too. Ken looked at Lin Yi not far away with a smile. What does a kid know? Xiaoke glared at Ken. Hee, all I know is that male thief bro gave us a lot of money. These 2 suitcases are filled with money, right? Ken had become a greedy ghost under Xiaoka's influence. It is money, but why can't I steal it? Xiaoka said, troubled. How did you steal such a big suitcase? I saw with my own eyes that male thief bro gave one to you. The other one is probably the same, right? Ken said. Ken, are you asking for a beating? Xiaoka raged. I won't give you a single cent when we get back. You won't have dinner tonight. No. Ken said helplessly. I'm praising male thief bro. Okay. Oh, is that so? All right, I'll give you dinner then. Xiaoka smiled again. Xiao Ken was speechless. She thought to herself, women who are passionately in love are really stupid. Even the smart sister Xiaoku has become like this. But luckily, Lin Yibro was a strong man. With his help, the development of the orphanage was progressing by leaps and bounds. And Xiaoka sis really wasn't losing out by following him. Lin sighed and got into Han Xiaopa's car. Boss, why did she call you a male thief? Is that your nickname? Xiaopa didn't understand the relationship between Lin, Yi, and Xiaoka. When they were in the car, he didn't dare to say much about Lin Yi. When Xiaoka asked him anything, he only said that he was Lin Yi's follower. It's not really a nickname. It's an identity I used before. She doesn't know I'm Lin Yi, Lin Yi said. I see. Han Xiaopa nodded. He was not a gossipy person. He nodded in understanding and said, Boss, where are we going now? Let's go back. Lin Yi's purpose of coming here had been achieved, so he didn't want to stay any longer. Okay. Han Xiaopa nodded, started the car, and headed toward East Ocean City. What Lin Yi didn't know was that in Donghai Industry University, Pin Liang had set up an arena in the school. He even wrote the slogan Love War on the arena. There was an explanation below. I will be Minyao's personal bodyguard. I hereby challenge all masters. I will stand in the arena and take a beating without fighting back. If anyone can knock me down within 10 minutes, I will give you 1,000 yuan in cash. If you can't knock me down, you will have to pay 1,000 yuan. Of course, you could only use your fists and legs, but you couldn't use any other methods. One had to admit that Pin Liang's gimmick was very accurate. Knocking someone down and getting 1,000 yuan for free was the best thing in the world. This was exactly what Pin Liang wanted. This way, he could establish the fact that he was invincible. Meng Yao and Yushu wouldn't be able to object. Pin Liang could say that he was the strongest person in the world right now. He was the person who could protect Meng Yao the most. No one could knock him down, no matter how hard they tried. If he wasn't qualified to be a bodyguard, then who was? Bodyguards didn't just need to be skilled. More importantly, they had to take a beating for their employer at a critical moment. This was an idea. It was an idea that Pin Liang came up with after thinking for a whole night. He wasn't as stupid as before. Yushu wouldn't let him go, so he couldn't just sit there and wait. What if Yushu tricked him and extended the inspection period indefinitely? He couldn't wait that long. Lin might have already carried Meng Yao to bed by then, and he wouldn't even have the chance. So he had to choose to attack. In the beginning, there were a lot of people who were greedy for the 1,000 yuan that Pin Liang offered. From their perspective, if Pin Liang didn't fight back, they could just knock him down with a few flying kicks. It wouldn't even take 10 minutes. And so they all signed up to participate. But reality wasn't what they imagined. Pin Liang was like a cockroach that couldn't be killed. The punches that landed on him didn't seem to do any damage to him at all. Although it wasn't like punching a rock, after a long time, their fists and feet would still hurt. Pin Liang, on the other hand, was still standing there, looking down on the crowd. Some students even kicked Pin Liang's crotch, but the result was the same. Pin Liang was fine, as if nothing had happened. His leg, on the other hand, was hurting from using too much force. In short, no one could knock Pin Liang down within 10 minutes. They couldn't even make Pin Liang look like he was in pain. And so, after these people helplessly handed over the 1,000 yuan, the number of people who went up the stage decreased. Although the conditions seemed to be favorable to them, Everyone understood that if they didn't have a diamond in the rough, they wouldn't do it. If Zhong Pingliang dared to say something like this, he must be prepared and confident. Meng Yao frowned when she saw the news on the school's BBS forum. She was a little annoyed by Pingliang's sensationalism, but Pingliang had done it plenty of times in high school. Shu, why is Pingliang so annoying? Didn't you tell him to wait for the news? Meng Yao turned to Yushu. What's wrong with him? Yushu shook her head. Man, Liangzi seems to have gotten smarter. He knows that I might be messing with him, so he's trying to stall for time. Yushu saw through Pingliang's plan immediately. Then what do we do? Meng Yao asked. I don't have a choice. We can only wait for Shield Bro. Yushu shook her head helplessly. Aren't you omnipotent, Shu? Why can't you do it now? You're not omnipotent anymore? Plus, do you think Lin can solve it? Isn't Pingliang invincible under Sky class? Can Lin take care of that golden cicada underwear? Meng Yao asked. Chapter 25:12. Almighty Shu. Yushu thought about it. There's a way. Actually, let's just get Elder Pai to punch him, and everything will be fine. Elder Pai's a Sky class. He won't be able to defend against his attack. That's a good idea, but didn't Elder Pai go back already? Plus, if they let Elder Pai handle this, wouldn't it bring trouble to the Hidden House Pai? Isn't Pingliang from the Everyday sect or something? Wouldn't it be a problem if they found out that a master from a hidden house came to the common world? Meng Yao asked worriedly. This wasn't the same as before. After all, last time, it was Elder Pai who came out to save Xingyan from the shadows, and the robbers were either idiots or idiots. This time, however, it was different. They were doing it in front of everyone. Yeah, that's why Almighty Shu isn't omnipotent sometimes. Yushu shrugged helplessly. Actually, it's easy to handle. We just need to ignore him. Ignore him? Meng Yao blinked. Yeah, just ignore him. Yushu said, when Shield Bro comes back, it'd be great if he can beat him, but if he can't, I'll think of a way to change Pingliang's golden cicada underwear, and Shield Bro will be able to beat him. After that, I'll tell him that the previous matches don't count, since we weren't watching. Let him fight Shield Bro again, and Shield Bro will win for sure. Shu, it looks like you're not afraid at all. No wonder you're not nervous. Meng Yao sighed in relief after hearing Yushu's words. It's not that I'm not afraid. I'm actually thinking, how can I get Liangzi's good stuff? That iron rod of his is pretty good, too. If Shield Bro gets it. Ha 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 ha, Yushu said with a wicked smile. Getting it all? That's not a good idea. Is it? Meng Yao said worriedly. Will the Everyday sect behind him agree? If they don't agree, then let them give Liangzi some more stuff, and we'll get it when he comes back to act cool. Yushu said disapprovingly. Liang is such a good person, giving equipment to Shield Bro. Pfft. Meng Yao almost burst into laughter at Yushu's words. Pingliang was really unlucky encountering a Zhou Ripper like Shu. Whatever good stuff he brought, he'd lose it all. But Meng Yao didn't sympathize with him. Pingliang had kidnapped her and Shu before, and had done a lot of things to harm Lin Yi. How could Meng Yao sympathize with him? Lin Yi got into Han Xiaopa's car and arrived at Donghai Industry University. Lin Yi heard the students talking about Pingliang's arena the moment he parked the car in the parking lot, and Lin Yi naturally paid attention to it. What Lin Yi didn't expect was that Pingliang would use this method to force him to abdicate. It was a lot smarter than before, but with Shu here, would it really work? Let's go and take a look, Lin Yi said to Han Xiaopa. Boss, you have some kind of conflict with this Pingliang? Han Xiaopa got the gist of it. Ha. Yeah. Meng Yao's pursuer, my high school classmate. Lin Yi said, this guy used to go against me all the time and recently joined the an Everyday sect. He got himself some mid-class golden cicada underwear, and anyone under Sky class won't be afraid anymore. So it's him. Xiaopa understood what Lin Yi was talking abruptly. No wonder Lin Yi was asking about the mid-level golden cicada underwear yesterday. So this was what it was all about. The two followed the crowd to where Pin Liang was holding the arena and saw Pin Liang standing on the stage with a proud look on his face. No one went up the stage again, however, as if they knew that it was impossible to defeat Pin Liang, and so they just watched the show from below the stage. They wanted to see if there were any idiots coming up to die. Lin Yi, you're back. Pin Liang saw Lin Yi in the crowd and yelled excitedly, Lin Yi, come up to the arena, since you're back. Don't be a coward. Lin Yi didn't want to go up to the arena immediately because he didn't know Pin Liang's situation, and he didn't want to make a move before he understood Yushu and Meng Yao's intentions. But Pin Liang had already yelled out those words. If Lin Yi backed down in front of the crowd, it'd give Pin Liang an excuse to force him to abdicate. He'd find Meng Yao and Yushu and say, if Lin Yi doesn't dare fight me, then what right does he have to be your bodyguard? This would put Meng Yao and Yushu in a difficult position. All right, since you've invited me, I'll come up and try. Lin Yi nodded, and with a leap, he landed on the arena Pin Liang had built. It was called an arena, but it was just a gymnasium. I'll stand here. You can fight. Pin Liang looked at Lin Yi fearlessly, his arms crossed in front of his chest, as if he was above all. Fiery 8 trigrams palm. 5th form. Lin Yi didn't use his strongest move right away, since it would consume too much energy. Lin Yi only needed to use the 5th form of Fiery 8 trigrams palm to see if Pin Liang was really invincible under Sky Class, and if he could defend against Lin Yi's skill, which was equivalent to the 11th form of Sky Class. Boom! Lin Yi's palm landed on Pin Liang's body, and although Pin Liang was unharmed, he was still forced back a few steps by Lin Yi's strength. He barely managed to steady himself, and looked at Lin Yi, surprised. Not bad, but it's nothing to me. Pin Liang didn't expect Lin Yi's move to be this strong. After all, Lin Yi was the only person who could make him take a few steps back, since he came down from the mountain. As for the others, they couldn't do anything to him at all. Basically, all the power was absorbed by the golden cicada undergarment, and Pin Liang didn't feel anything. However, Lin Yi's palm did make him take a few steps back, and it was enough to show that Lin Yi was stronger than the others. But Pin Liang thought about it. All the people he faced before were Mystic and Golden class, and only Lin Yi was an Earth class, so it made sense that he was stronger. But even an Earth class couldn't do anything to him, right? He had underestimated his opponent and didn't adjust his stance in time, causing him to take a few steps back. He needed to focus now. Pin Liang was surprised, and Lin Yi was even more surprised. One had to know that the 5th form of Lin Yi's Fiery 8 trigrams palm was equivalent to the 11th form of Sky Class. Chapter 25:13. Lin Yi was shocked that the 11th form had no effect on Pin Liang. It seemed like this mid-tier golden cicada underwear was really good stuff. Was it really divided according to strength? He wasn't a Sky Class, so even if he used a Sky Class skill, he wouldn't be able to hurt Pin Liang? Lin Yi wasn't satisfied and didn't answer Pin Liang's question. He used his strongest skill, the 7th form of Fiery 8 trigrams palm. Boom! Lin Yi's palm landed on Pin Liang's chest again, and a strong fire element chi burst out from Lin Yi's palm. Even an early-stage Sky Class would be heavily injured if they took a hit from Lin Yi, but Pin Liang was only sent flying by Lin Yi. His body flew out of the ring and landed heavily on the ground as Lin Yi's chi exploded. Good. Oh, dash. That's great. That's amazing. The audience cheered when they saw Pin Liang get knocked down by Lin Yi. There was a saying that went, the experts knew the ropes, while the amateurs enjoyed the show. The students here were all normal people, not practitioners. As far as they were concerned, Lin Yi defeating Zhong Pingliang was a victory for him. and Pin Liang had to pay Lin Yi 1,000 yuan as a reward. Of course, although Pin Liang was sent flying by Lin Yi knew that Pin Liang wasn't injured at all. Other than the fall, he was perfectly fine. He wasn't injured at all. This situation made Lin Yi feel helpless and speechless. Even an early-stage Sky class was no match for him, and Pin Liang was just a normal practitioner. He couldn't do anything to him. How sad was this? It seemed like the mid-tier Golden Cicada underwear protected the opponent's level, as long as he didn't reach Sky class. Even if he used a Sky class skill, his strength was still there. He still couldn't do anything to Pin Liang. Although most of the people below the stage were cheering, there were also a few who were silent after seeing this scene. That was Tiger Right, Yellow Hair, Purple Hair, Li Biaohan, and the others. Tiger Right, Yellow Hair, and Purple Hair were fine after taking the pill. Li Biaohan, on the other hand, had a cast on his leg and was sitting in a wheelchair, looking very pitiful. He came here to find a sense of balance. He watched others get bullied by Pin Liang. His frustration lessened a little, but when he saw that even Lin Yi couldn't do anything to Pin Liang, he felt a strong sense of fear. Tiger Right and the others felt the same. They were all practitioners and could naturally tell that Lin Yi was using the 13th form of Sky class skill. Although they were curious as to how a mere Earth class mid-phase peak was able to use the 13th form of the Heaven class, they were even more curious as to why Pin Liang wasn't injured at all after being hit by the 13th form. Lin Yi's move was enough to cripple a Sky class early phase, or even early phase peak. But Pin Liang wasn't injured at all. Other than being sent flying off the stage, he didn't seem to have any other injuries. Kid. Lost, right? Can't take it anymore? Now you know there's always someone better than you? Yeah, hurry up and pay up. You've swallowed so much money before, it's time to pay up. Hurry up and pay up. Be quick. It had to be said that the students were all focused on Pin Liang's payout. They didn't care why Pin Liang wasn't afraid of the fight, nor did they care if Lin Yi could do anything to him. They just saw that Pin Liang lost, so they wanted him to pay up. Pin Liang was a little annoyed. He stood up and jumped onto the stage, speaking to Lin Yi. No, let's fight again. You're different from the others. It doesn't matter if you beat me. You have to beat me first. What the hell? Are you going to keep your word? You said it yourself. I just have to beat you, and I'll get 1,000 kwai. Why is it different now? Yeah. Isn't this a scam? You're so happy when you win, but now you're changing the terms when you lose. Isn't this a scam? Liar. This kid is a liar. Yeah, where's the guy who lost? Let's ask him for a refund. The one who spoke was a sports major student who went up to the stage. He was instigating the people who lost to ask Xiaofu for their money. Sure enough, as soon as he said that, the others responded and surrounded Gao Xiaofu, saying, Hurry up and refund the money. Xiaofu looked at Pin Liang awkwardly. Do you want to get beaten up? Liar. If you don't give us a refund, we'll beat you up and send you to the school leaders. They'll say that you're scamming students. A student said, Yeah, the school will definitely give you demerits. Another student said, Maybe they'll even expel you. Another student added fuel to the fire. Give it back. Give it to them. Pin Liang said helplessly. He was really afraid that Xiaofu would be at a disadvantage. He wasn't afraid of getting beaten up, but Xiaofu was. What if Xiaofu got beaten up half to death? Although refunding his money was a little embarrassing, it was still better than Xiaofu getting beaten up. He would lose even more face if that happened. Fine, I'll refund your money, Xiaofu said helplessly. He refunded the money to the people who went up to the stage before they let him go. Lin Yi, on the other hand, calculated the pros and cons in his mind and said to Pin Liang, I'm sorry if you want to compete in something else. We can do it another day. I don't have time today. With that, Lin Yi ignored Pin Liang and jumped off the stage. Although he knew that he lost the battle, the other students didn't. They saw that Lin Yi had won and defeated Pin Liang. This way, Pin Liang wouldn't be able to use public opinion to force Meng Yao and Yushu on the school's forum. Pin Liang was furious, but there was nothing he could do after Lin Yi left. He couldn't force Lin Yi to compete, could he? He couldn't beat Lin Yi up with a stick. It would be fine if there was no one around, but in front of everyone, people would think that he was beating up Xiaofu because he couldn't afford to lose the 1,000 kuai. That would be even more disadvantageous to him. He could only give up. Xiaofu, where's the 1,000 kuai? Lin Yi walked up to Xiaofu after he got off the stage and extended his hand. Xiaofu hesitated. He was afraid of getting beaten up, so he took out the 1,000 kuai and handed it to Lin Yi helplessly. Chapter 25:14. Pin Liang wasn't afraid of getting beaten up, but Xiaofu was. One slap from Lin Yi would be enough to kill him. Lin Yi put the 1,000 kuai into his pocket. He didn't care about the money. He only did it to annoy Pin Liang a little, making him shoot himself in the foot. It was also a way to cover up his helplessness in losing, in case Pin Liang used the opportunity to force Meng Yao to abdicate again. Lin Yi took the money and left. Pin Liang cursed Lin Yi for being a coward in his heart, but he didn't dare say it out loud in front of everyone. If he did, the students in the audience might start cursing at him. After all, everyone saw that Pin Liang had lost, and it was reasonable for Lin Yi to reject his challenge. In their eyes, Pin Liang was being shameless. If Pin Liang showed even the slightest bit of dissatisfaction, the students might think that he was a sore loser. And so, Pin Liang didn't have the face to continue setting up the arena. He quickly packed up with Xiaofu and left the arena under the disdainful gazes of the students. The other students dispersed after the two left, and the commotion died down just as quickly as it started. Some of the nosy students had already uploaded the battle report to the school's BBS forum, and Meng Yao and Yushu were the first ones to see the results. Yeah, Shield Bro didn't disappoint us. He beat Pin Liang, Yushu said excitedly as she pointed at the post. Meng Yao, on the other hand, wasn't as excited as Yushu. She sighed helplessly. It looks like Lin Yi won, but he still lost. Lin Yi really can't do anything to Pin Liang with that mid-level golden cicada underwear on. That's true, but Yao, we should be satisfied. This result is much better than I expected, Yushu said. At least Pin Liang can't use this to force us to abdicate and become your bodyguard. We don't have to rack our brains to find an excuse to reject him. As long as I steal his treasure, he'll be waiting to be beaten up. Roar, 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 roar. Shu, why do you have such a creepy laugh? Meng Yao's hair stood on end from Yushu's laugh. It's been a while since I've messed with people. I'm a little excited now that there's business, Yushu said embarrassedly. Lin Yi's call came in the middle of their conversation. Meng Yao picked it up. Lin Yi, you're back? Yeah, I met Zhong Pingliang earlier, Lin Yi said. Meng Yao continued before Lin Yi could finish. Yeah, I know. I saw the live broadcast on the school's BBS. You beat him. What do you mean knocked down? If it was someone else, they would have died long ago. He's not injured at all. This mid-grade golden cicada underwear is really strange, Lin Yi said with a bitter smile. Shield Bro, don't worry. Shu will take care of the rest for you. Yushu grabbed the phone and said to Lin Yi, Shield Bro used to be the one protecting me. This time, I'm going to protect Shield Bro. You? Done? Lin Yi blinked. Shu wants to trade Pin Liang's mid-grade golden cicada underwear. Meng Yao explained Shu's idea to Lin Yi. You can do that. Lin Yi didn't even think of using his low-grade golden cicada underwear to trade Pin Liang's commodity one. If it really worked, then Pin Liang was really unlucky. Roar, roar, roar. Of course it works. Meng Yao mimicked Yushu and laughed evilly. Lin Yi was stunned. Miss, when did Shu infect you? What do you mean infect? We've always been alike, all right? Meng Yao humphed. All right, I won't bother then. I'll wait for the good news. Lin Yi said, I'll go back first then. I'll pick you guys up tonight. It was the weekend, and although there were people in school, they were all electives. They didn't have to go. Usually when Lin Yi wasn't home, Meng Yao and Yushu would come to school. Meng Yao and Yushu only came to school for class. They wouldn't come if Lin Yi was at home. Lin Yi came to school, but he didn't plan on going to the electives. He just gathered the rainbow steel, pure yellow jade, and blue crystal. It wasn't a big amount, but he wanted to go back and try making the jade space. After all, Lin Yi had been looking forward to this for a long time. Now that he had all the materials, of course he wanted to give it a try. Okay, see you tonight, Meng Yao said. Lin Yi turned around and got into Han Xiaopa's car. Let's go back to the villa in the Shueshang district, Lin Yi said. Okay, boss. Han Xiaopa nodded and started the car. At the same time, Pin Liang and Xiaofu escaped to a secluded place and sat down in a pavilion, panting heavily. This was the school's little forest. In the summer, these pavilions were a haven for young people to love, study, and play cards, but in the winter, there was no one around. No one was stupid enough to come here in the cold. What a miscalculation. Who would have thought that Lin Yi would come back at this time? Pin Liang said angrily, My mid-tier golden cicada undershirt can defend against attacks from practitioners below sky class, but Lin Yi is still an Earth class mid-phase peak. He can still send me flying. Yeah, we wouldn't have held this arena if we'd known this would happen. Maybe we could have changed the rules when Lin Yi came, instead of letting Lin Yi come up. Xiaofu nodded in agreement. Things were going pretty well at first, and I thought I'd go to Meng Yao and Yushu and force them to let me be their bodyguard. It didn't matter if they were willing or not. As long as I became their bodyguard, everything would be a lot smoother from here on out. Wasn't Lin Yi disliked back then? Pin Liang's plan wasn't bad, but there were some problems in implementing it. I wonder if Meng Yao knows about this. Xiaofu hesitated. Liang bro, maybe you should give Yushu a call and see what they're thinking. Maybe they've already seen the situation. Or maybe they'll let Lin Yi say something unfavorable to Liang bro. Not bad, that's a good suggestion. Lin Yi's a sly bastard. I need to give Yushu a call and tell her that Lin Yi's shameless act this time. Pin Liang quickly took out his phone and called Yushu. Chapter 25:15. Hey, Liangzi, what's up? Yushu had just planned out the next step of her plan and was just thinking about how to trick Pin Liang into coming here when Pin Liang walked right into her trap. What a nice guy he was. Shu, do you know about the fight between me and Lin Yi? Pin Liang asked. Fight? What fight? Yushu pretended not to know and asked confusedly. Haha, it's like this. Pin Liang was overjoyed to hear that Yushu didn't know anything about it. He started explaining. I've organized a tournament to see if I'm qualified to be your and Yao Yao's bodyguard. So I made a rule that whoever beats me will get 1,000 kwai as a reward. That's right. Of course, this is only for ordinary people. Cultivators naturally won't work. In that case, I'll definitely have to make a move. Pin Liang purposely gave Yushu a heads up, paving the way for what would happen next. However, he didn't expect Yushu to agree with him. Yeah, if you don't fight against a practitioner, then you're an idiot, Yushu added. Ugh, yeah. Pin Liang smiled bitterly. Did that mean he was an idiot? But in order to smear Lin Yi's name, he didn't care if he was an idiot or not. He continued, but I didn't think that Lin Yi would suddenly come back and beat me up. He even asked me for 1,000 kwai. Don't you think that's infuriating? He's a practitioner. How can he have the same rules as normal people? Isn't that cheating? I asked him to continue fighting with me, but he took the money and left. How shameless. Oh, about that, I got it, Yushu said. Yao Yao sis, and I didn't see your fight, so it doesn't count. Even if you want to fight, we have to be there to see it with our own eyes. Otherwise, it doesn't count. Yeah, yeah. Pin Liang was overjoyed. That's right. That's it. Without the two of you present, the competition doesn't count. He's only acting shamelessly for a while. When the time comes for the real competition, let's see if he can still act shamelessly. But Liangi, I don't have time to talk to you right now. I'm busy. Yushu interrupted. Ah, Sister Shu, what are you busy with? Pin Liang asked. Do you need my help? No need. Yao Yao Sis is feeling a little uncomfortable. She seems to have caught a cold and is lying on the bed. I need to take care of her. Yushu said. Ah, Yao Yao caught a cold? Are you all right? Pin Liang rolled his eyes. Do you need me to go and help? It's fine. It's the girls' dorm. You can't come in, Yushu said. Ha, what makes you think I can't? Pin Liang curled his lips. He had already found out that the Ani of the female dormitory bullied the weak and feared the strong. He could move unimpeded. There's no need for that, right? It's inconvenient, isn't it? Yushu hesitated. Yao Yao Sis is only wearing pajamas. Meng Yao glared at Yushu, annoyed. You're the one who made me wear it, aren't you? Besides, my pajamas are very tight, okay? Everything that needs to be covered is covered, and I'm even lying under the blanket. Ha! Pajamas? Pin Liang almost drooled when he heard that, but to hide his lustful look, he quickly put on a serious face. What's inconvenient about it? I'm going to be your bodyguard soon. Are you not going to wear pajamas at home in the future? Wait, I'll go right now. No, please don't come. Yushu's tone changed from hesitant to firm. Pin Liang, on the other hand, couldn't hear the change in Yushu's tone. Wait for me. I'll go right now. Don't. Please don't come. Yushu hung up with that. Puffed. Meng Yao almost burst out laughing when she heard Yushu hang up. Shu, your acting was pretty good, wasn't it? Say it. Are you practicing when you have nothing better to do? Are you trying to seduce Linny? No way. I'm practicing for Yao Yao Sis. Yushu stuck her tongue out. For me? What does that have to do with me? Meng Yao blushed as she remembered something. She glared at Yushu. Prepare? Pin Liang will be here soon. Oh, I'll go prepare. Yushu ran out of the dorm with the basin in her arms. Pin Liang, on the other hand, turned to Xiaofu after hanging up. Take these things back and wait for me. I'm going to find Meng Yao. Liang bro, you don't need my help? Xiaofu asked carefully. Help my ass. Pin Liang glared at Xiaofu. Didn't you hear that Yao Yao is wearing pajamas? What are you going to do? It's a girls' dorm too. Why are there so many people? It won't be easy to get in. Oh, okay. Xiaofu didn't really want to see Meng Yao in her pajamas. He just wanted to see if there were any other pretty girls in the dorm. Who knows, maybe he'd run into one. But he couldn't do that now. Pin Liang wouldn't let him go at all. He could only go back to the dorm with the banners and wait for Pin Liang's return. Pin Liang said goodbye to Xiaofu and ran towards Meng Yao's dorm. He'd gotten Meng Yao's room number a long time ago, and when he entered the door, Pin Liang told the guard that his girlfriend was sick and needed to be taken care of. He also gave the guard 100 kwai in private, and the guard let him in after confirming that there were no problems with the room number and name Pin Liang had given her. Pin Liang, on the other hand, ran to Meng Yao's dorm. He was about to knock on the door when he realized that it wasn't locked. He was overjoyed. He pushed the door open and rushed in. He had a little bit of hope in his heart. Maybe he'd see some intimate scenes if he rushed in, but the reality was cruel. Pin Liang didn't see anything when he entered the dorm. He only felt a basin falling from the sky and splashing dirty water on his face. Fortunately, he reacted fast and dodged it in time. Otherwise, the dirty water would have gone up his neck. What's this? What's going on? Pin Liang wiped the dirty water off his face and sneezed, completely confused. Chapter 25:16. Liang, why are you here? Yushu was shocked. Didn't I tell you not to come? Oh my God. Shoo, sis, what is this? Why is the water so black? And there's dirt in it. Pin Liang asked, looking like a drowned rat. Man, it's to prevent perverts from coming. Yushu explained helplessly, Yao Yao's sick. I have to be prepared for fire, theft, and perverts. Fire, theft, and perverts? Pin Liang blinked. How? Using this basin of dirty water? Yeah, think about it. Water can put out a fire, right? I put the water on top of the door, so when someone opens the door, the water will fall down. Isn't this anti-theft and perverts? Yushu explained. There are perverts here? Can perverts come in? Isn't this a girl's dorm? Pin Liang was speechless. He wasn't sure if Yushu was messing with him on purpose. After all, there were plenty of examples like this. If it's a girl's dorm, how did you get in? Yushu asked. Pin Liang thought about it. It was true. Didn't he get in anyway? It wasn't that Yushu couldn't understand the pervert's actions, but it still didn't sit well with her. But isn't this a trap? I'm dead because of you. Liang, you're wrong. Didn't I tell you not to come? I told you not to come. Yushu said with a straight face. But you didn't listen to me and came in. Who can you blame? But even if I don't come, won't other people come? It's not good if the dirty water gets blamed on someone else. Pin Liang said. Other people knock first. Who told you to barge in without knocking? Yushu blinked suddenly and looked at Pin Liang teasingly. I say, Liang, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Are you trying to see something you're not supposed to see? Gah. Pin Liang froze as if Yushu had stepped on a sore spot. He shook his head awkwardly. Of course not. I'm just worried about Yao Yao's illness. I'm not that bad. All right, Shu, stop teasing Zhong Pingliang. He's really unlucky. Meng Yao spoke up softly. Zhong Pingliang shouldn't be a pervert. He knows that you're not easy to deal with. Why would he act like a pervert in front of you? That's right, that's right. You know me best, Yao Yao. Pin Liang heard Meng Yao defending him. He felt a surge of warmth in his heart, feeling extremely comfortable and pleasantly surprised. He thought that Meng Yao was starting to acknowledge him in her heart. All right, Zhong Pingliang, look at how dirty your hair is. Hurry up and take a shower. Don't catch a cold or you'll catch a cold too. Meng Yao said to Zhong Pingliang. Shu, bring Zhong Pingliang to the bathroom. Let him take a shower? Let little Yangzi take a bath here? That's not very good, is it? Yushu's face changed at Meng Yao's suggestion. Yao Yao, there's your sexy lingerie in the washroom. Meng Yao blushed. Shu said, Shu, don't talk nonsense. What about mine? Besides, the bathroom is private. It's not like we're taking a shower outside. Meng Yao naturally wouldn't put her lingerie in the washroom, but Zhong Pingliang didn't know that. His heart raced when he heard that Meng Yao's lingerie was in the washroom. He almost had a nosebleed. He quickly said, Shoo sis, I'm not feeling well. I'm really not feeling well. Let me take a bath. Don't worry, I won't do something dirty like that. If I can't even get past this, how am I going to be your and Yao Yao's bodyguard in the future? Is that so? Then you can't look around or touch. Yushu finally agreed after some thought. But you should go in and take off your clothes first. I'll go check the bathroom after you're in, see if you touched our underwear or not. You can't lock the door from the inside. Don't worry. Although Zhong Pingliang said that, he felt a little regretful. He felt a little regretful in his heart. He had wanted to masturbate on Meng Yao's underwear. But this wish was obviously not going to come true. He pretended to be calm on the surface and said, My bodyguard's quality is quite good. You can go and check them later. All right, go wash up then. Yushu said with a wave of her hand, letting him go. Then I'll go, Zhong Pingliang said, and entered the washroom. He didn't have to take a shower, but if he didn't, he would have to leave. He wanted to stay with Meng Yao for a while longer. Zhong Pingliang entered the washroom, and Yushu grinned at Meng Yao and made a victory sign. "Oh, it's done. Don't get carried away. Don't let him find out later," Meng Yao reminded. "Don't worry, leave it to Shu." Yushu quickly took out the low-level golden cicada underwear from her wardrobe and stood at the washroom door, listening for any movements inside. Not long after, she heard Zhong Pingliang open the bathroom door, followed by the sound of running water. Evidently, Zhong Pingliang had entered the bathroom. But for safety's sake, Yushu decided to wait until Zhong Pingliang had soap all over his body before going in. After a while, Yushu estimated that it was about time. She opened the washroom door and walked in. "Shu, you came in for a check?" Pingliang heard the door open and guessed that it was Yushu coming in. The bathroom's glass was opaque, and one could only see a vague silhouette, but Yushu didn't want Pingliang to notice anything. "What's the point of checking if you've already said that?" "I came here to pee." "Turn around. Don't look at me." "Oh, okay. No problem. But I can't see anything through this glass." Although Zhong Pingliang said that, he still turned around. He thought, "Who wants to look at a troublemaker girl like you? If I look at you, and you continue to cling to me, I won't be able to live for the rest of my life." Yushu pretended to go to the washroom, but her hands weren't idle at all. She quickly flipped through the clothes Pingliang had taken off, and with a single glance, she saw the mid-tier golden cicada underwear. Zhong Pingliang's golden cicada underwear looked very similar to the low-level golden cicada underwear, and there was almost no difference. This confirmed Yushu's guesses. It was very easy for Yushu to switch underwear, and very quickly, Yushu completed the switch. Chapter 25:17. Yushu pressed the flush button and walked out of the bathroom, saying as she walked, "All right, you can continue showering now. You can turn around now." Oh, Pingliang was washing his hair, so he didn't pay much attention. He only heard the bathroom door close. When he heard it, "You got it?" Meng Yao asked, seeing Yushu coming out of the bathroom with a smile on her face. "Yes." Yushu waved the underwear in her hand, pleased. "Don't you think it's dirty?" Pingliang wore it before. Meng Yao curled her lips. "Ugh, I'll endure it for shield, bro." Yushu stuffed Pingliang's mid-level golden cicada underwear into a bag. About 10 minutes later, Pingliang was done showering as well. He walked out of the bathroom in a new outfit, his jacket covered in dirty water. He didn't put it on again. "Shu, Yao Yao, I'm done showering. I feel much better now. That water was really dirty." "Oh, right, where did you get that dirty water from?" "Someone else used it to clean the floor." Yushu said, "Oh, Yao Yao, how are you? Do you feel better? Do you need to go to the hospital?" Pingliang didn't even notice that his mid-level golden cicada underwear had been swapped. "It's okay. I'll be fine after some rest. I'm a little sleepy," Meng Yao said with a yawn. "She's sleepy." Pingliang paused, hesitating. He wouldn't be able to stay here if Meng Yao fell asleep. Even if he stayed here, he couldn't talk to Yushu, could he? He didn't want to talk to Yushu. From his years of experience, nothing good would happen if he stayed with Yushu for too long. "Yeah, I'll sleep for a bit," Meng Yao said as she closed her eyes. "Liangyi, you've come to see Yao Yao already. Can you leave now?" Yushu turned to Pingliang and asked, Okay, Yao Yao, have a good rest. I'll come see you another day." Pingliang said helplessly. He didn't want to leave, but he had to. "All right, Liangyi, Yao Yao's asleep. You're still talking to her?" Yushu glared at Pingliang. "Then, I'll be going." Pingliang felt a little regretful, but at least his relationship with Meng Yao had improved quite a bit. This made him very happy. He didn't know why. Even if he was strong now, he still couldn't let go of Meng Yao. Logically speaking, with his current strength, finding a pretty girl was a piece of cake. But maybe it was the stubbornness in his heart that made it hard for him to forget his love for Meng Yao. Pingliang left, and Meng Yao woke up as well. She didn't have a cold at all. Instead, he frowned and said, "Get someone to disinfect the bathroom later. I don't want any diseases to be infected." Menyao's hatred for Pinliang had reached a new level, and she was a clean freak as well. Naturally, she couldn't share a bathroom with Pinliang. In her mind, this was a very disgusting thing. It's all because of Shield Bro. Yushu picked up her phone and called the student service company. This was a work-study service company established by the student council. They could provide cleaning, shopping, running errands, tutoring, and other services for the students in school. The university was different from the aristocratic high school. Although there were many students from rich families, there were also some students whose family conditions were not too good. The student association provided them with a work-study opportunity, which was a good thing. Professional cleaning of the dormitory was also one of the programs, and it was specially provided to some rich kids. Of course, Meng Yao and Yushu weren't the kind of people who would do whatever they wanted. Usually they would clean the dorms themselves, but they didn't have professional disinfecting equipment. Meng Yao and Yushu left after the professional cleaners arrived. They weren't afraid that they would steal anything. All the valuables in the dorms were locked in their cabinets, and the students in charge of cleaning were all registered with the student council. It was impossible for them to steal anything. After returning home, Lin Yi told Han Xiaopa to go back first. He needed to study the good stuff he got from the practitioner's market. In the room, Lin Yi sorted out his spoils: a blue crystal, a sky-class earth element beast core, and a piece of pure yellow jade. It seemed like there were only 3 things, but they were all extremely valuable. Including the sky-class beast core, Lin Yi now had a total of 5 beast cores. He could use the refining method he got from House Taggin to make an essence necklace, but one of the cores was given to him by that thing that surpassed Sky Class, and it didn't let him use it carelessly. Lin Yi didn't dare use it carelessly. It would be too wasteful. That core was clearly different from the others. With that thought, Lin Yi decided to postpone the refinement of the necklace for a while. He'd wait until he had another beast core. Lin Yi glanced at the thing in the jade space. It was still curled up in a corner, not moving. Lin Yi had gotten used to this thing's existence these days, so he just ignored it. Other than taking up a small space, it didn't disturb Lin Yi's life at all. Putting the beast core away, Lin Yi took out the jade pendant condensing method from his drawer, as well as the colored steel and pure yellow jade he had collected. In comparison, the material he had the most was pure yellow jade. There was only a small piece of colored steel and blue crystal. After arranging the materials, Lin Yi opened the jade pendant condensing method and read it carefully. There were 2 prerequisites to condense the jade space. The first was to collect all the materials, and the second was to reach the 2nd level of the art of dragon mastery. Although Lin Yi's cultivation speed was very fast during this period, he was still a little bit away from the art of dragon mastery. However, this condition could be achieved through his own efforts, so Lin Yi didn't need to waste time and effort to find it. As he continued to read, Lin Yi understood why Jiao Yazi said that he needed to reach the 2nd level of the art of dragon mastery before he could condense the jade space. It was because condensing the jade space required a forging fire, and the prerequisite for the formation of this forging fire was to reach the 2nd level of the art of dragon mastery. As long as the forging fire could be formed, the jade pendant could be condensed. Chapter 25:18. Lin Yi didn't know if this forging fire had anything to do with blacksmiths, but it sounded similar. It was just that this forging fire was converted from the art of dragon mastery, and there wasn't any special incantation or condensing method. Lin Yi put down the jade pendant condensing and put all the good stuff he got from this trip into the drawer. The drawer was filled with good stuff. There were 3 pieces of the map: the Wanyankan box, 5 spiritual beast cores, pure yellow jade, blue crystal, and colored steel. As for the sky net and 1,000 silk mask, Lin Yi carried them with him. After doing all this, Lin Yi sat on the bed and continued practicing. He couldn't help but think of Wang Xinyan. Lin Yi didn't know if it was because he missed her or because he wanted her to help him with his training. After a while, the sound of a car came from outside the villa. Lin Yi didn't expect Meng Yao and Yushu to drive back first. "Shield bro, Shu has something good for you." Yushu took out the mid-level golden cicada underwear as soon as she entered the house, holding it up in front of Lin Yi. "Zhong Pingliang's mid-level." "Zhong Pingliang?" Lin Yi blinked and realized what Shu meant. He couldn't help but be surprised. "Shu, you're saying that this is Zhong Pingliang's golden cicada underwear?" "Yeah, I used the low-level golden cicada underwear to replace it. That idiot doesn't even know about it." Yushu said proudly. "What do you think, Shu? Is amazing, right?" "Yeah, it is." Lin Yi nodded. "Then is there a reward?" Yushu asked. "Like a kiss of love for Yao Yao sis." "Pfft, what does that have to do with me?" Meng Yao froze and almost kicked Yushu. "Of course it has something to do with you. Actually, it's all Yao Yao sis's credit. If it wasn't for Yao Yao sis pretending to be sick to attract Zhong Pingliang, Shu wouldn't have the chance to replace the underwear." Yushu said. "So, it's all Yao Yao sis's credit. Then, I don't want the reward. You can have it." Meng Yao said, a little embarrassed. "Okay, come on, shield bro. Let's kiss Shu." Yushu said happily. "Ha ha." Lin Yi obviously wouldn't kiss Xiao Shu, although they had kissed before, and Xiao Shu even confessed to him that night. Lin Yi knew that Xiao Shu might seem bold, but in some aspects she was very conservative. Otherwise, with Shu's personality, he had probably been pushed back a long time ago, but he hadn't been pushed back until now, which proved this point. "Then I'll note it down first. I'll have to return it in the future." Yushu didn't force the issue. She picked up a pen and wrote something on the calendar in the living room. X year, X month, X day. Shield bro owed Shu a kiss of love. I'll pay you back double in the future. Lin Yi was stunned. He looked at little Shu thoughtfully. He felt that there was a hidden meaning behind her actions today, but he couldn't figure it out. Lin Yi had a premonition. Maybe this thing could really come true in the future. Otherwise, why would Shu remember this? But before Lin Yi could think too much, Shu passed the mid-tier golden cicada underwear to Lin Yi and said, "Shield bro, wash it first before using it." Lin Yi nodded. "Actually, without this thing, Zhong Pingliang has nothing to rely on. I don't need to wear it to win against him." "No, Zhong Pingliang has I don't know what it's called. It's something like the Jingu Bang. It seems to be able to break through people's chi protection and injure them with a stick. What if he hits you with a stick?" Yushu said worriedly. "Oh, that's a good thing." Lin Yi nodded. "All right, I'll wear it and deal with him tomorrow." Okay, finally done. Otherwise, this guy would be so annoying." Meng Yao let out a breath of relief after hearing Lin Yi's words. "Since you guys are back, I'll go check on Han Jingjing. Have you guys seen each other these 2 days?" Lin Yi asked. "Not really. That girl is always studying stuff. We don't disturb her when there's nothing important," Meng Yao said. "But Wang Xinyan came yesterday and asked where you were." "Wang Xinyan? He came yesterday." Lin Yi paused. "Yeah, she said she felt a little dizzy and wanted to ask you for help, but you weren't there, so she left," Meng Yao said. "Dizzy?" Lin Yi blinked. I think it's just that Xinyan misses Shield bro and has no excuse, so she said she felt dizzy." Yushu said, "Shu, don't talk nonsense. Do you think everyone is like you?" Meng Yao glared at Shu and turned to Lin Yi. "I wouldn't have thought about it if you didn't mention it. Hurry up and call her. Ask her what's going on." Okay, Lin Yi was a little nervous. What was going on with Xinyan's dizziness? He didn't want anything to happen to Xinyan. Even if he didn't consider it from a relationship perspective, Xinyan was still very useful to him. And so, Lin Yi gave up on the idea of looking for Han Jingjing and called Xinyan directly. It didn't take long before Xinyan's lazy voice came from the other side. Hello, Lin Yi? It's me, Xinyan. How are you? I'm back. Yao Yao said you felt a little dizzy. Are you feeling better? Lin Yi asked. I don't know what's going on. I just felt a little dizzy. And I fell asleep. Xinyan rarely slept during the day, and she didn't know why she'd fallen asleep earlier. Maybe it's the flu? Cold? Wait for me then. I'll go to school. Lin Yi said, catching a cold isn't a small thing. You can't let your guard down. You might not even be able to go to class if it gets serious. It's not that serious. Is it? I'm so sleepy. Xinyan said, I'm in the dorm. You can't come in. Why don't you let Yao Yao and Shu pick you up? You can have dinner at my place tonight, or you can sleep at my place if you can't. I'll keep an eye on you. Lin Yi said. He'd said it for Xinyan's sake, but he couldn't help but think about how he'd be able to hug Xinyan and train at night. He couldn't help but think about the ambiguous relationship between the two of them. I don't think it'd be too much trouble. Xinyan didn't reject it, but said that it wouldn't be too much trouble for Meng Yao and Yushu. This made Lin Yi happy. It's fine. It's no trouble at all. Lin Yi said. Then, all right, I'll clean up first. I'll be going downstairs by the time they get here. Xinyan agreed after some thought. Chapter 25:19. All right. Lin Yi hung up and turned to Meng Yao. He was just about to say something when someone beat him to it. See, Yao Yao? Shield Bro's forgetting his old love after finding a new one. He's treating us like errand runners. He didn't even ask us before telling Xian Yen, sis, that it's no trouble. Yushu said with a resentful look on her face. All right, Shu, stop pretending. Isn't Wang Xinyan sick? Meng Yao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Besides, weren't you the one who made her Lin Yi's first wife? Hee, I'm just saying it casually. Yushu smiled and lowered her voice to Meng Yao. Yao Yao, I'm fighting for your interests. Are you not going to do anything with Shield Bro in the future? I'm helping you make your presence known. All right, let's not talk about stuff like that. Meng Yao's face reddened as she coughed. Let's go find Wang Xinyan. We don't want her waiting for us. Yushu and Meng Yao mumbled as they walked out of the villa. Their voices weren't loud, but Lin Yi could still hear them clearly. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. His relationship with Meng Yao and Yushu was a little weird, wasn't it? In fact, it wasn't that Lin Yi didn't like the eldest miss, but the eldest miss's mind was erratic. Sometimes she was passionate, sometimes she was cold. When Lin Yi hooked up with other men, the eldest miss was unhappy. When Lin Yi wanted to go further with her, the eldest miss retreated. Lin Yi was afraid of scaring her, so he could only let nature take its course. Moreover, he was her follower. Stealing a young lady's mistress was a bit inappropriate no matter what, and it would damage his reputation if it was spread out. Although Lin Yi wasn't Meng Yao's bodyguard anymore, it was still a taboo in the industry. It didn't take long for Meng Yao and Yushu to return, bringing Xinyan back with them. Xinyan had combed her hair and washed her face, but Lin Yi could still see the weariness in her. Oh, Shield Bro, I've brought Xinyan sis here. It's up to you whether you want to push her down, cure her, or train her. I'll go watch TV with Yao Yao. Yushu pushed Xinyan in front of Lin Yi. Oh, Xian Yen, where are you feeling unwell? Lin Yi hesitated and said, let's go to my room. Yeah. Xinyan humphed in a nasally voice. She followed Lin Yi into his room. Wang Xinyan had expected this to happen. She was already here. Even if Lin Yi treated her, she wouldn't be able to do so. But how could he let go of the opportunity to cultivate? Of course, Xinyan thought that Lin Yi was an honest man, and that he'd only called her here to train. He didn't have any dirty intentions. Since she was already here, Xinyan didn't put up her guard. She entered Lin Yi's room and took off her jacket before lying on Lin Yi's bed. Lin Yi wasn't in a rush to cultivate. He first checked Xin Yan's pulse, but immediately after, Lin Yi frowned. Lin Yi frowned. Xin Yan's illness didn't seem to be the flu. There were no signs of a cold. Xin Yan, other than dizziness, do you have any other symptoms? Lin Yi asked. No. What's wrong? My body. Is there something wrong? Xin Yan was shocked after hearing Lin Yi's words. That's not it. Lin Yi shook his head and said, You don't have a cold, but there's nothing wrong with your body. You're just a little weak. You said before that your body hasn't been well since you were young. This should be the reason. Oh, I see. It's good that you're not sick. Xin Yan sighed in relief and nodded. I'm not sick, but my body is a little too weak. Lin Yi said, How about this? I'll make you a dose of medicine. Drink it for a few days, and it should be fine. And, okay, Xin Yan didn't reject Lin Yi's words at all. She'd do whatever he said. Then you rest well. I'm going out for a bit. Lin Yi said as he stood up and quickly left the room. Meng Yao and Yu Shu were watching TV in the living room when they saw Lin Yi walk out of his room, a little confused. Shield bro, why are you out again? Yu Shu looked at Lin Yi, confused. I'm going to the pharmacy to get some medicine. I'll be back in a bit, Lin Yi said. Then go. Don't worry about home. I'll take care of Xin Yan for you, Meng Yao said quickly. Lin Yi nodded and quickly left the villa, driving to the biggest pharmacy nearby. Lin Yi didn't need to copy the prescription at all. He just had to say it once at the pharmacy. Xin Yan only needed to nourish her body, and she didn't need too many treasures. She could buy all the medicine from a normal pharmacy. When Lin Yi got back to the villa, he saw that Xin Yan had already changed into her pajamas. She was sitting on the sofa, watching TV with Meng Yao and the others listlessly. She yawned when she saw Lin Yi and said to Lin Yi lazily, Lin Yi, you're back. Thank you. What are you thanking me for, Xin Yan? Go take a nap if you're sleepy. It'll take a while for me to brew the medicine. Lin Yi said, seeing that Xin Yan wasn't in a good state. It's okay. I can rest here. I'll sleep after I drink the medicine, Xin Yan said. All right. Then sleep after you drink the medicine. Lin Yi said, as he went to the kitchen to boil the medicine. Shield bro is so considerate. Xin Yan sis, don't you feel happy? Yu Shu whispered after Lin Yi left. Xin Yan blushed. She didn't know how to answer. To be honest, she liked Lin Yi, and she was touched by what Lin Yi had done for her. But because of House Kong, House Yu, and Sky Elixir, she couldn't tell Lin Yi the truth. Don't be shy, Xin Yan sis. Why are you like Yao Yao sis? You like Shield bro, but you won't admit it. Yu Shu sighed. I really don't understand you two. What's going on in your head? Shu, don't talk nonsense. Why are you dragging me into this again? Meng Yao said, not in a good mood. Fine, it's hard to be a good person, but it's hard to be a good person. Yu Shu shrugged and went back to watching TV. Lin Yi brewed the medicine quickly and passed it to Xin Yan with a smile. Xin Yan, you've been waiting for a long time, haven't you? Hurry up and drink it. Chapter 25:20. Xin Yan blushed a little as she took the medicine from Lin Yi's hand and started drinking it. Lin Yi's thoughts drifted to the ice palace, thousands of miles away. He thought of Xiao Xiao, his cute little wife. Was she doing well? Lin Yi hadn't heard from her in a long time, and he was starting to miss her. If it was possible, Lin Yi would go to the ice palace himself to visit her. But he couldn't do that right now. He couldn't make a third-level pill like the Ice Heart Jade Bone pill. Even if he did, crystal candy wouldn't be nice to him. So Lin Yi decided to wait until he could make a third-level pill with Han Jingjing and become a Sky class. Only then would Lin Yi go to the Ice Palace and see if crystal candy was still his little wife. Meng Yao could guess what was on Lin Yi's mind when she saw the dazed expression on Lin Yi's face. He was probably thinking about Tang Yun. She kicked Shu. Don't talk nonsense. What's the point of saying that now? Shu paused, but she was smart enough to figure it out. She stuck her tongue out and turned to Lin Yi. It's okay, I'll help Shield Bro find another little wife. Han Jingjing looks good. She'll be a perfect match for Xinyan sis. Lin Yi was speechless. How could they be a perfect match? Xinyan was a little sleepy after drinking the medicine. Her eyelids were fighting to keep her eyelids open. Lin Yi smiled at her. Xinyan, why don't you go rest? You'll be fine after drinking the medicine. You'll be fine tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. Xinyan nodded and stood up, walking to Lin Yi's room. The meaning behind this was self-evident. Xinyan didn't want to say it out loud, but her actions made it clear. She was supposed to sleep with Meng Yao and Yushu, but she chose to sleep in Lin Yi's room instead. It didn't matter if it was just to help Lin Yi with his training. This was a clear sign that Xinyan liked Lin Yi, and Meng Yao could see that. Yushu could see it, and so could Lin Yi. But they all understood that Xinyan might have some concerns in her heart, and Lin Yi was trying to help her with that as well, but to no avail. Hurry up, Shield Bro. What are you waiting for? Yushu urged after seeing that Lin Yi didn't follow them into the room. Then, I'll go to bed first. Lin Yi was a little embarrassed. Shu, I'm sleepy too. Let's go get some sleep. Meng Yao yawned as she turned off the TV. But I'm not sleepy. Yushu's eyes were wide open. Are you sleepy? Meng Yao pinched Yushu. Ugh. Yushu felt the pain. I'm more awake now. What about now? Meng Yao pinched even harder. Now, I'm sleepy, all right? I'm going to sleep. Yushu said with a grimace. Go to sleep if you're sleepy. Meng Yao dragged Yushu upstairs. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he watched the two leave, but he was grateful for the misunderstanding. Lin Yi was sleeping with Xinyan to increase his strength, and Meng Yao was very supportive of the situation. When they got back to the room, Lin Yi found that Xinyan was already asleep, lying on the bed with a sweet smile on her pretty face. She looked very calm and at ease. Lin Yi didn't think that Xinyan would fall asleep so easily in his bed. It seemed that Xinyan really believed that he wouldn't do anything inappropriate to her. Lin Yi didn't waste any time. Xinyan was being so generous, so there was no reason for him to be so unreasonable. He got on the bed and pulled Xinyan into his arms, channeling the second stage of the art of dragon mastery. Xinyan felt as if she could feel Lin Yi's embrace. The corner of her mouth moved a little, but she was still sleeping soundly. Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. It was a quiet night, and Xinyan slept very well. She slept from 6 o'clock all the way until the sun rose. She only opened her eyes at 6 the next morning. She slept for a whole 12 hours. Xinyan woke up to find herself in Lin Yi's arms. Lin Yi was very well behaved and didn't touch any sensitive parts of her body, but it was still enough to make Xinyan sigh a little. She'd always wanted to keep her distance from Lin Yi, but she'd still been touched enough to sleep with Lin Yi last night. She hadn't thought much about it last night, but she couldn't help but think about a lot of things when she woke up today. If she were to keep this up with Lin Yi, then Xinyan didn't dare to think about it. You're awake? Lin Yi asked, coming back to reality from the jade space after noticing Xinyan's movements. Yeah. Xinyan nodded as she tried to struggle out of Lin Yi's embrace, but the little bunny on her chest accidentally rubbed against Lin Yi's arm. Ah. Xinyan let out a squeal. Ah. Ugh. I didn't do it on purpose. Lin Yi blinked, smiling bitterly. It's not your fault. Xinyan was even more embarrassed, but she felt that Lin Yi's arm wasn't going to loosen up yet. He was still on top of her rabbit. She was a little embarrassed. You're still not letting go. Ugh. Okay. I forgot. Lin Yi loosened his arm unwillingly. Xinyan glared at Lin Yi, annoyed. Don't push your luck. I really didn't do it on purpose. Plus, you were the one who moved. Lin Yi was speechless. Stop it. Xin Yan's face turned even redder as she turned her head away, not daring to look at Lin Yi. All right, I'll stop. Thank you, Xin Yan. Lin Yi thanked her from the bottom of his heart. It's nothing. If it weren't for you taking care of me, I wouldn't have recovered yet. Xin Yan thought back to how Lin Yi had been busy making medicine for her yesterday, and her embarrassment towards Lin lessened quite a bit. She hesitated, but still decided to speak up. Lin Yi, can you not tell anyone about what happened yesterday? Yesterday? What happened? Lin Yi blinked, not understanding what Xin Yan was talking about. It's about us sleeping together, Xin Yan stuttered. Chapter 25-21. You're not planning on showing off, are you? Xin Yan said, surprised at the look on Lin Yi's face. She knew that some guys were bored going to school after sleeping with their girlfriends. Of course, if they slept with a female classmate who wasn't their girlfriend, then they'd boast even more about how amazing they were. Ugh, am I that kind of person? Lin Yi didn't know if he should laugh or cry. If I were that shallow, I'd just say that I'm living with 3 school beauties. Xin Yan thought about it and agreed. Lin Yi wasn't that kind of person, was he? She wasn't worried about Lin Yi telling everyone that he slept with her, but she was worried that Xiaolong would hear about it. And Xiaolong would ask the Sky Elixir sect for help against Lin Yi. After all, they slept together during military training. And that was with their clothes on, with many classmates around them. Sleeping in Lin Yi's villa was a different story. Who would believe that they didn't do anything? You're right, I was thinking too much. Xin Yan nodded. But I feel a lot better after a nap. Then come sleep with me tonight. Lin Yi invited. I'm fine now, right? Xin Yan said, a little flustered at Lin Yi's blatant invitation. I bought a course of medicine. I need to consolidate it. You're weak, not sick. Lin Yi said seriously. Then, all right, but how long? Not too long. Mayware, and Ling will get suspicious if I don't stay in the dorms for a long time. Xin Yan agreed after some hesitation, but she was still a little worried. Just a week. Lin Yi felt a little regretful Xin Yan still couldn't let go of her worries, it seemed. All right. Xin Yan nodded, agreeing to it. I'll go make breakfast then. You sleep a bit more. Lin Yi said. As he stood up, do you need my help? Xin Yan asked. No need. Lin Yi smiled and walked out of the room. Lin Yi made breakfast with ease. Grandma's son and Falbert left, and Lin Yi became the Mrs. Valet again. Well, now he was the valet of the 4 misses, including Han Jingjing. Lin Yi called Meng Yao and Yushu downstairs after making breakfast. He then called Han Jingjing and told her to bring Han Xiaoqiao over. Shu's starving. I haven't eaten anything since last night. Yao Yao's so mean. I'm starving to death in the middle of the night. I wanted to ask Shield Bro to make me something to eat, but Yao Yao wouldn't let me. She even forced me to sleep, telling me that I wouldn't be hungry if I fell asleep. Yushu complained as she went downstairs. Puffed. Lin Yi didn't expect the miss to have such a funny side to her. Haha, in the end, Shu had a dream the whole night, dreaming that there was a piece of shark meat in front of her, but she couldn't eat it no matter what. Yushu said, as she sat down at the table and started munching on a fried cake. It's not as good as shark meat, but it's still good enough. Shield Bro's breakfast is really good. Can't you shut your mouth with food? Meng Yao glared at Yushu. Eat it if you're hungry. Why are you wasting time? Are you an old lady? Yushu stopped talking and started devouring the food in front of her. Xin Yan only realized then that this villa was filled with joy. Yushu was a jokester, and a few words from her could make people laugh out loud. Han Jingjing came with Han Xiaoqiao soon, and Xin Yan was there as well. Han Jingjing was an exception, but she didn't ask. After breakfast, the six went to school together in Lin Yi's seven-seater Cherokee. What Lin Yi didn't expect, however, was that Lin Yi ran into someone he didn't want to see early in the morning. It was Pin Liang. Pin Liang had just arrived at school with Xiaofu. The two of them lived on campus, but the environment wasn't as good as the outside. As soon as they arrived, they rented an apartment near the school and stayed there every night. Pin Liang's eyes were about to spit fire when he saw Lin Yi and Meng Yao get out of the car. Pin Liang cursed inwardly. "Look at you, Lin Yi. There are so many beauties around you, and you're only giving Meng Yao to me?" However, Pin Liang was still very magnanimous in front of Meng Yao. He walked up to them. "Isn't this Yao Yao and Shu? Lin Yi, it's been hard being a bodyguard for you. If you're tired, just let me *CK you. You're a loser, and you're still talking big? You lost 1,000 kwai to me yesterday. Why don't you remember?" Lin Yi looked at Pin Liang mockingly. "I say, Pin Liang, you went to the everyday and everyday sect. Why don't you remember? Your follower Zhang Naipeo got beaten up by me, and you want to follow in his footsteps?" Pin Liang laughed at Lin Yi's words. "I say, Lin Yi, didn't you beat me yesterday? But I'm perfectly fine. Look at me now. Do I look like I'm injured? Not only can I run, but I can also jump. Look at how agile I am. Are you a monkey?" Lin Yi asked as he looked at the bouncing Pin Liang. "Don't talk about useless things." Pin Liang didn't mind at all. He waved his hand. "Lin Yi, since we've met here, I won't waste my time looking for you. Pin Liang, hereby announce that I'm officially challenging you for the position of Meng Yao's personal bodyguard. What do you think? Do you dare accept?" "Accept? What's in it for you? The position is yours if you lose, but you get nothing if you win. Do you think everyone's as stupid as you?" Lin Yi curled his lips in disdain. "Then what do you think I should do? What would make you accept my challenge?" Pin Liang paused. "But I think you're probably afraid to accept my challenge because you're afraid of losing. You couldn't do anything to me yesterday, and it'll be the same today. I didn't even want to fight you yesterday. We're old classmates after all. I didn't even kill Zhang Naipeo. So why would I kill you? If I wanted to kill you, you'd be dead already. Why would I wait until now?" Lin Yi said mockingly. "Fuck. Stop bullshitting. Just say it. Do you dare accept my challenge?" Pin Liang panicked. "I can accept the challenge. It's not that I can't, but there should be some stakes, right?" Lin Yi said, "If I lose, I'll give the position to you. If you lose, you have to give me something, right? What do you want?" Pin Liang asked. Chapter 25-22. Who said I'm done? Pin Liang's heart skipped a beat as he covered his chest subconsciously. Who said my underwear? What underwear? Lin Yi looked at Pin Liang, stunned. I'm talking about that metal rod. Don't you use it to beat people up all the time? Do I even need to tell you? Oh, you're talking about the metal rod. Pin Liang breathed out in relief. He thought that Lin Yi was talking about his mid-level golden cicada underwear, and he was afraid that Lin Yi would know his secret. It was fine as long as it wasn't the mid-level golden cicada underwear. It seemed like Lin Yi didn't know his secret yet. As for the steel rod, it wasn't a bad idea to use it as a wager. After all, Pin Liang didn't think that Lin Yi had the ability to beat him. As long as he set the rules, he wasn't afraid of Lin Yi. What? You don't want to? Lin Yi found the look on Pin Liang's face funny. Says who? I'm just worried that you won't be able to win. Pin Liang waved his hand generously. All right, we'll use my metal rod as the wager. If you win, you take it. If you lose, you'll have to give up your spot. What do you think? All right, it's a deal. Lin Yi nodded. All right, Yao Yao, Shu, you guys are listening on the sidelines. You guys can be witnesses. This afternoon, we'll still be at the field where the arena was. We'll have a personal trainer competition. Pin Liang said, all right, Liang Yi, I'm rooting for you, but I'm rooting for Shield Bro too. Yushu's nonsense made Pinliang depressed. He was happy with the first half of the sentence, but the second half made him realize that Yushu wasn't helping either side. Pinliang, however, thought that this was a good thing. Yushu had always been biased towards Lin Yi, treating him as an enemy. Now that she was treating him the same, it meant that she'd improved. Pinliang was happy again. All right, noon it is then. Lin Yi replied. Yao Yao, is your cold better? Pinliang and Lin Yi agreed on a time for the match, and he shifted the topic back to Meng Yao. Much better, I'm fine now. Meng Yao nodded. Then at noon, you must come and watch the competition between me and Lin Yi. At that time, Yao Yao, you will see it with your own eyes. Then you will know who is the most competent bodyguard. Pinliang said, the most important thing for a bodyguard is to be able to take a beating. Taking a beating for the employer is the only way to protect the employer. Don't worry, Xiao Liangzi. I will bring Sister Yao Yao to watch the battle. Yushu gave Pinliang a don't worry look before whispering, but you need to try your best. Don't drop the ball at the critical moment. I won't be able to help you if you really lose. No problem, Shu sis. Don't worry, I won't disappoint you. I'll definitely win. Pinliang was filled with confidence after hearing Yushu's words. He felt very refreshed from head to toe. The group split up in the parking lot. Lin Yi, Han Jingjing, and Xinyan went to the biology building together, while Meng Yao, Yushu, and Han Xiaoqiao went to the economics building. Pinliang, on the other hand, had already come to school, but a self-funded student like him was only here to get a diploma. It didn't matter if he went to class or not. He went straight to the dorm with Xiaofu to prepare for the competition at noon. Jing, I've sold all those elixirs, and I've contacted another supplier. If it's possible, we will make more elixirs for sale. Lin Yi didn't hide anything from Xinyan and told Han Jingjing directly. Sure, but Jingjing's alchemy skills are limited. Without Lin Bro's help, I won't be able to make that many elixirs. Han Jingjing said, It's fine, I'll help you. Lin nodded. The three didn't say anything else and entered the classroom. Right Panhu and Xiaolong watched Lin walk in with Han Jingjing and Xinyan. Anger flashed in their eyes, but they were smart enough not to cause trouble for Lin Yi. The two of them had placed their hopes on Pinliang to cause trouble for Lin Yi. Pinliang didn't do anything to Lin Yi yesterday, but Lin Yi didn't do anything to Pinliang either. This meant that Lin Yi wasn't invincible yet. They had high hopes for Pinliang, hoping that he could surprise them. What a coward! Xiaolong said in a low voice, I'm the elder brother of the sky, elixir sex heir, but I have to suffer like this every day, watching my fiancé get close to another man. I can't do anything about it. There's nothing we can do, Brother Kong. Just bear with it. Don't talk about cowardice. Our hidden house you is even more cowardly. Right, Panhu said gloomily. We went to the practitioner's market to buy things in the hidden house you, but not only did Lin Yi get the things first, but Lin Yi also stole the elixir money. Right Panhu already knew that the third brother of the right was stolen by Lin Yi. He felt depressed about it. Even Old Yi didn't say anything, but Right Panhu felt it was unfair. Seeing Lin Yi getting more and more domineering and gaining more and more power in the hidden houses, Right Panhu was shocked. He'd had to rely on the Ice Palace's support to get a place in the hidden house during Elder Tang's birthday banquet, didn't he? But now, a few months had passed in the blink of an eye, and Lin Yi alone was enough to strike fear into the hearts of the hidden houses, especially the sky class skill that Lin Yi used on the stage yesterday. It made Right Panhu's jaw drop. With that kind of power, not just the third brother of the right, any sky class master in the hidden house, you wouldn't be able to take it. It could be said that whoever was hit would be crippled. Can't we deal with this kid? Xiaolong was very sullen. He never had a good time with Lin. House Kong had always been suppressed by Lin Yi, and they never had a chance to turn things around. Even if we don't deal with him now, someone else will deal with him for us. Why not? Right Panu shook his head. Since the disciples of the everyday and everyday sect are involved, let him deal with it. The everyday and everyday sect isn't weaker than the Sky Elixir sect. In fact, they're even more evil. That's true. I hope Zhong Pingliang won't disappoint us. Xiaolong nodded. Lin Yi spent the entire morning practicing, and Pin Liang, on the other hand, was already at the school. Chapter 25-23. Xiaolong was also the first to receive the news. He looked at his phone and laughed. Ha, Lil, right, you're right. Pin Liang really doesn't want to be left out. He's going to challenge Lin Yi this afternoon. See, that's what I said. We'll just wait and see. There's someone helping us take care of Lin Yi for now, so we don't have to do anything. Punhu Right said proudly, "We'll go watch at noon." Of course we have to. Xiaolong agreed. After lunch, it was almost 12. A large number of students gathered near the gymnasium. The student council even sent some of their members to maintain order. Sparring between students wasn't forbidden by the school. It was one of the extracurricular activities. As long as both parties didn't cross the line, the school wouldn't interfere. After all, martial arts clubs, boxing clubs, taekwondo clubs, and so on often competed and sparred with each other. Pin Liang was already standing on the stage, and Xiaofu was busy setting up the banners. The theme of today's banners was bodyguard battle. It looked a little silly, but it was a synonym for romance in a university. Someone was playing a guitar and setting up a flower formation in front of the girls' dorm. But it was romantic. Most of them failed, but there were some who succeeded and touched the goddess of their hearts. Of course, Pin Liang did this on purpose. The goal was to create a difference from yesterday. If someone were to bring up yesterday's incident, wouldn't that mean he was cheating? He couldn't explain himself. Fuck, it's 12:20 already. Why isn't Lin Yi here yet? Pin Liang looked at his watch and mumbled, "I bought a watch last year." At the beginning, Pin Liang stood on the stage with his hands behind his back, looking cool and cool. But that was under the assumption that Lin Yi would arrive soon. Pin Liang had been standing on the stage for more than 20 minutes now. Even if he wasn't tired himself, the students below the stage were starting to get tired. Was he trying to act cool for them to see? Liang bro, didn't we agree on 12:30? There's still 10 minutes left. Xiaofu said quickly, F***CK. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have come so early. Pin Liang was a little depressed. He found a chair and sat down, not boasting anymore as he waited for Lin Yi. However, just as he sat down on the chair, he discovered that a figure had appeared in front of him with a leap. Lin Yi had arrived. He was standing in the arena, looking down at Pin Liang. "Liangzi, you're quite comfortable here, right? Resting before the battle?" Lin Yi said after seeing Pin Liang sit down. He'd probably tormented him a little. F***CK. Pin Liang almost exploded when he saw Lin Yi. This guy didn't come when he was acting cool, but came when he was sitting down. What was the meaning of this? Was this a scam? Pin Liang, however, saw that Meng Yao and Yushu were here as well. He didn't want to lose face and argue with Lin Yi about pointless stuff like that. So he stood up. "I'm the host, so it's normal for me to come first. It's no big deal." "Ha, let's begin then. How are we going to compete? What do you think? My time is limited, and I need to go rest after I'm done with you." Lin Yi smiled, but Pin Liang felt like he was asking for a beating. "The rules are simple. We have half an hour from now until class starts at 1. We'll fight within that time, and whoever can beat the other up, yes, until the other vomits blood and can't get up, that's the winner." Pin Liang made sure to set the conditions. "You have to vomit blood. That's it." Lin Yi smiled and nodded. "All right, I'll make sure you vomit blood." Ugh. Why did Pin Liang feel like Lin Yi wasn't afraid at all? That shouldn't be the case. Did he think of some killer move again? Pin Liang suddenly thought of Zhang Naipeo. Was Lin Yi planning to use some killer move today? No, even if it was a killer move, his mid-tier golden cicada underwear could defend against it. But, just to be safe, Pin Liang added another condition. Of course, we can't kill each other. We're in school, and we can't kill each other. Don't worry, just say it, if you're afraid of dying. I'm not stupid enough to kill you in front of everyone. Lin Yi curled his lips. Naturally, Lin Yi wouldn't kill Pin Liang in school. Even if there was no one around, Lin Yi wouldn't kill him. Lin Yi wasn't a reckless person. Lin Yi's current strength was only enough to fight against the hidden houses. He was much stronger than before, but there was still a huge gap between him and the ancient sections. So, Lin Yi didn't want to mess with people from the ancient sects for now. I'm doing this for your own good, Pin Liang said shamelessly. All right, let's begin. Everyone be a witness. Whoever beats the other up until they vomit blood is the winner. Otherwise, you won't win even if you get knocked down 100 times. Many of the spectators had seen Pin Liang's match before, and they knew what he was capable of. Even if he was knocked down, he wouldn't get hurt at all. They started whispering to each other, cursing Pin Liang's incompetence. This guy was obviously very tanky, but why did he have to make such a ridiculous request? Although Lin Yi had beaten Pin Liang yesterday, he was still a long way from beating him up until he vomited blood. But Pin Liang didn't care what these people thought. What they thought had nothing to do with him. He only cared about Meng Yao and Yushu's thoughts. When he saw that Meng Yao and Yushu didn't reject his suggestion, he relaxed. It seemed like the relationship between Meng Yao, Yushu, and Lin Yi wasn't as solid as he thought. Maybe there was a crack in their relationship, and that was why his plan went so smoothly. It seemed like as long as he beat Lin Yi, it would be easy for him to replace Lin Yi. Then I'll begin, Lin Yi said as he punched at Pin Liang. This time, Lin Yi didn't use any skills at all. He only used his normal strength to punch at Pin Liang. His low-tier golden cicada undershirt could only defend against attacks from people below Earth class. Earth class masters couldn't defend against them. So Lin Yi only needed to hit him normally to cripple Pin Liang. You're tuning into the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.